FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny 27 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra care, extra clean, extra safe. Book today, physioextra.com.
2 media companies and 2 journalists have apologised over their coverage of Adelaide Crow's notorious 2018 pre-season camp. Michaela Kamarik has more.
The Nine Network, The Age newspaper and journalists Caroline Wilson and Sam McClure have apologised, issued retractions and agreed to pay all legal costs to high-performance training specialist Collective Mind. It comes after a series of articles and interviews were broadcast by the media outlets about the 2018 Adelaide Crows training camp. After lengthy legal proceedings, all parties have acknowledged that the camp was run in good faith and with the players' interests front of mind. Nine will now retract 13 publications, including 2 video interviews published between 2018 and 2021. A Safe Work SA investigation last year found the camp did not breach work health and safety laws.
A car has gone into a house at Lightsview. It happened on North Parkway around midnight. The vehicle reportedly hit the bedroom wall. There's no word yet on injuries. SA Health has identified 2 COVID exposure locations from a week ago. Chivago and Fumo Blue are both in the city. The first is a close contact location. The second is considered high risk. Anyone who attended the night spots last Friday night, January 28, early Saturday morning, January 29, is asked to follow SA Health advice. SA recorded just over 1,500 new COVID cases yesterday and 1 death. Cancer patients are being urged to receive a 4th dose of a COVID vaccine. Australia's expert panel on immunisation has approved the injection for individuals aged 16 and over with weakened immune systems. It can only be administered 3 months after a 3rd dose. Cancer Australia's Dr Vivian Milch says it provides vital protection.
We know that cancer patients are at risk of more significant or severe outcomes from COVID, so it's very important that people with cancer come forward for their vaccination.
Novak Djokovic has spoken publicly for the first time following last month's deportation saga. The world number 1 has met with Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić to thank him for his support after his visa was cancelled twice. He says he'll tell his side of the story in the next 10 days.
Having in mind that I have not spoken publicly regarding the events in Australia, and this is the first time that I speak publicly, I ask you for patience because in the next 7 to 10 days I will address the media with more details with my, so to say, version of the story and everything that happened in Australia.
Ukraine is urging the Australian government to do more to pressure Russia over the ongoing tensions at the country's border. The Ukrainian Foreign Minister wants the Morrison government to sanction Russian officials, ban Moscow's propaganda outlets and offer more cybersecurity support. The leader of ISIS has been killed in a counter-terrorism raid carried out by US Special Forces. He died by suicide during the 2-hour operation in Syria's northwest. A number of his family members, including women and children, have also been killed. Now to 5AA Sport.
Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide. Departs February 25th. Book at ntnow.com.au.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football. Port Adelaide forward Charlie Dixon has had surgery on his injured ankle interstate and is now recovering. The club is still hopeful he will be okay to start the season. Well, 2 athletes have been chosen as Australia's flag bearers for tonight's Winter Olympic opening ceremony. Figure skater Brendan Kerry and aerial skier Laura Peel will share the duties. Meantime, Australian mogul skier Jakara Anthony has made a great start to her Winter Olympic campaign. Nine's Matt Granland has more.
Jakara Anthony is one of Australia's biggest chances to win a medal at these games, and she's well on track after finishing on top in her first qualifying run. She's now straight into Sunday night's final along with fellow Aussie Britt Cox, who finished 9th in qualifying. In the men's, it was a horror start for Matt Graham, who won silver 4 years ago. He failed to finish his qualifying run, but will get another chance on Saturday, and hopes of a medal for our mixed doubles curling team are over after being beaten by the Czech Republic.
To cricket, Australian captain Pat Cummins is refusing to back Justin Langer to remain as coach of the men's team. A decision on Langer's future is expected later today. Meantime, England has sacked its head coach, Chris Silverwood, as the fallout continues over a disastrous summer in Australia. And in some golf to finish, Aussies Cameron Smith and Lucas Herbert have made a solid start at the Saudi International event, finishing their opening rounds at 4 under, putting them 4 shots behind Italian leader Matteo Manassero. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
There's double the fun with 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
A mostly sunny Friday on the way, 27. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 30. Sunday, partly cloudy, 32. Right now, it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
6 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to 5AA Breakfast on a Friday morning. It's a Friday that doubles as the last day you'll be able to win tickets to Uluru, private jet, tours, accommodation, the whole kit and caboodle taken care of as we play our last game of Guess Uluru. We've given away $16,000 worth of trip thanks to NT now all this week. Today, it's the last one, and you know how it works. The clue's coming up after 6:30. Your first chance to win will be then. We've just got to play a little game of Guess Uluru. Phil Curry will be on the program. Tara Brown from 60 Minutes on the Cleo Smith's parents interview that's set to air over the weekend. And also we're going to chat with the manager of maritime archaeology at the National Maritime Museum in Sydney about the fact they found the Endeavour, what they think is the Endeavour, Captain Cook's ship. I don't know how that happens after all, hundreds upon hundreds of years, a wooden ship at the bottom of the ocean, but they think they've done it. We'll speak to them about how they've managed to achieve that. David Penberhty, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will.
You went at Zhivago last Friday night, were you?
Zhivago?
Yeah, nightclub in town. I just heard Mel Usher in 5AA News mention it. Because
no, I haven't been to Zhivago
SA Health put
ever.
SA Health put out some advice last night that if you'd been at Zhivago last Friday, you were at a close contact event and you had to isolate for 7 days from your exposure.
Are we still doing those sorts of things?
Well, I didn't think we were, but
it sounds like, say, 2021.
Apparently someone's still working through the paperwork.
Wow.
And that means if you found out last night that you need to isolate, you had to isolate for just today.
I was going to say, yeah, that would mean if you were at home on a day off work or maybe working from home,
yeah,
and you got the news later this afternoon, because I was busy doing other stuff during the news. I didn't hear Mel just then, but yeah, you might end up having to isolate for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it could
hear about later in the day.
Could be very convenient. There might turn out there was 1,500 people at Zhivago that night.
Oh yeah.
If you went the long weekend, sorry, I got stung. I just went in, had a drink with some friends last Friday night.
I don't even know where Zhivago is. What is it? Is it some teeny bopper nightclub?
Yeah. It's a really young person's nightclub.
That's why I haven't been.
So, I mean, yeah.
I'm trying to think. The last time I went to a dance venue, in all seriousness, was probably McMahon's at the Tonsley in the 1990s.
Oh, don't worry. There's a close contact spot for that coming up shortly. SA Health are just working through it.
Yeah, that's right. If you were at the In Excess tribute night on South Road in Clovelly Park in 1995. No, what are we talking about? 1995. Would have been 1985.
Yeah.
Discos are sort of dead, aren't they?
In what sense?
Well, there aren't any.
Yeah, but what makes a disco?
Well, a place where you go to dance and meet people.
Isn't this what a nightclub is these days?
Well, I suppose. Are there many nightclubs left?
I think they are. We should ask Sam Daddo. He seems to have a lot to say on this issue. I think he's been doing research for us, it sounds like.
Oh, he said he saw me at Jive. Well, Jive's a place we get to see bands. I wasn't there dancing.
No.
I wasn't there dancing and trying to pick people up. Those days are over, being a happily married man.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But I can remember Mum and Dad, their generation, they're in their 70s now. Well, Dad just turned 80. But Jules was always the place for a bit of a crazy night out. And then also there was one in Light Square called Regine's. There was sort of like Adelaide's Studio 54.
Right.
The church in the corner. In fact, I'm not even sure if the building's still there. It's their arts complex now. You don't even know what I'm talking about, do you?
No, I never went there. What year was that? Your parents went there, so I'm guessing it was slightly...
70s?
It was probably slightly before I was going out. And by going out, I mean alive.
You're going out to breathe and stuff.
8223 0000 is our number. You can text us as well on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 0480 1395.
The reason they don't exist as much anymore, everybody meets online. And I think meeting online must take the rule. Our generation and the generations before it, reward for effort when it comes to meeting someone.
Oh, you're talking about courting?
In the analogue era, I mean, it's like everything these days. You just jump online and find someone. Like, you want to get a couch from Harvey Norman. All right, I'll just pick one off my phone and the click and collect thing or the delivery thing.
I know people that live in that world that don't think it's so easy because...
Well, I reckon it's a hell of a lot easier than backing yourself at McMahon's at the Tonsley Hotel going, all right, I better go over and say hi. And then you get over there and she says, sorry, Nige is just in the toilet. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Then Nige comes out, what the hell are you doing, mate?
Perhaps.
No, sorry, mate, nothing.
Perhaps, but if you see someone
on the internet.
If you see someone in real life, you can make some assessments pretty quickly about them. What are they wearing? How are they conducting themselves? Who are they hanging out with? You can make there's a whole range of assessments you can make. A carefully curated photo being your only point of reference potentially exposes you to some real weirdos that you wouldn't otherwise sidle up to at McMahon's.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to do false advertising in real life.
That's right. Yeah, you're there. But
because you could end up wasting 4 hours of your life with someone who actually has got a face like a drop pie, but just got a really... Or is actually just a card-carrying weirdo.
Yeah, or you wouldn't... But you're doing it... The entire thing based on aesthetics, as opposed to you're at the same venue, seeing the same band.
That's normally the starting point.
Yeah, sure. But there's some other environmental things, like you're at the same place watching the same band, or you're probably into the same sort of music.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Or you're at the same age group, or you're sort of in the same part of the city. Like there's all these other things.
I mean, thinking back to the 80s. I mean, you could, if you're at the McMahon's with your white SAFM jacket on, you could see maybe there'd be a girl with an SAFM T-shirt.
So there you go.
Or tank top. You'd go up there and go, oh, I see you like SAFM too. Things like that get you off the duck.
See, there you go.
And then just the conversation flows from there.
Yeah.
What's your favourite show? Oh, Rock of the 80s, Bill Page, probably. Yeah.
13 after 6, more from the...
Explaining why I was single for most of the 80s there.
David's Dating Guide is a new segment we're going to be running from 6:05 each and every Friday morning from here. We need a little jingle, Sam, like David's Daily Headline. The Dating Guide, we're going to call an end to it right there. 13 after 6, news headlines are coming up in just a moment.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is back and doubled the fun with 2 Scott Salisbury homes in Somerton Park to be won. Just moments from the beach. Both homes are fully furnished, absolutely stunning, and ready for you to live your dream mortgage-free. With a catalogue of more than 15,000 prizes to win, tickets won't last long. Get yours today and join the fight at homelottery.com.au. Licence M141333.
Hey, it's Callum here. Family safety is everything to the team at Edwardstown Mazda, especially on the roads. So if your car, any make or model, is due for a service, take it to Edwardstown Mazda. One service centre for the whole family.
It's gotta be. So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Shop now at Harvey Norman Clearance Centre Marion. Under one big roof, we have lounges, dining, outdoor, rugs, flooring, cooking, washers, fridges, televisions and much more. Run-out models, scratch and dent, refurbished stock and brand new lines in stock and ready to go. Harvey Norman Clearance Centre at Marion for furniture, bedding, flooring, rugs and electrical. Look for the red sign. Shop now at Harvey Norman Clearance Centre, 919 Marion Road, Marion.
Go!
It's value the Australian way at Coles with great fresh specials this week. Like sweet juicy Royal Gala apples, 100% South Australian grown and just $3.40 a kilo. This week at Coles. Offer ends Thursday.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
15 after 6. Joe and Gawler of the Telstra Steel Mount Barker text line says, "Come on, Will, stop being the fun police. Let's hear Pembo's best pickup lines, please." All right.
That won't take long, Joe.
Just for Joe.
Based on strike rate.
Anything you want? Any pearls you want to share? No. Okay.
Well, that would have been all musical related.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I used the SAFM one.
Yeah. No, I felt that was the kernel of something.
It came back to me.
Yeah.
I think that one worked a couple of times.
Okay. Let's get into the news headlines. The Stewart Highway at Glendambo could reopen to select vehicles within the next couple of days to start freeing the trade route between South Australia and the Northern Territory. The floodwaters are receding more quickly than expected, but an official timeline for reopening has still not been given. Travel to the Glendambo area is still discouraged.
Premier was up there yesterday, and I saw a photograph that he put up that he took from his own phone. Just staggering amount of water. It's hard to wrap your head around it. In an area where normally it's like one giant dust bowl that goes as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
The leader of Islamic State has been killed in a US Special Forces raid in northwestern Syria.
Sucked in.
Yep. Abdul Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi detonated a bomb which killed himself along with members of his family during the counter-terrorism operation. Hero to the very end. US President Joe Biden says he played a key role in the 2014 Yazidi genocide in northern Iraq.
We all remember the gut-wrenching stories, mass slaughters that wiped out entire villages, thousands of women and young girls sold into slavery, rape used as a weapon of war. And thanks to the bravery of our troops, this horrible terrorist leader is no more.
It's only taken 14 months, but I reckon you could pencil that down as Joe Biden's first achievement.
I think so, yeah.
What else has he done?
Well, his second achievement was getting through the explainer of what just happened.
Making it through a sentence.
The family of... this is awful, this story. The family of Susan Pole, who was brutally murdered almost 30 years ago, has stared down her killer in court. Matthew Tilley was found guilty of the 1993 killing late last year, and the 49-year-old appeared in court yesterday to hear submissions before a non-parole period is set.
I just feel so sorry for that family, and I think I said when this story broke, when the guy was arrested, I was like a cadet at the Advertiser, and I can remember going out to the northern suburbs, and I was never any good whatsoever as a police reporter. I didn't have the stomach for it. I hated talking to people who were grieving. And, like, I wasn't even married the first time. It was like, I was straight out of uni.
Yeah.
I think I'd owned one tie. Like, I was just walking around in my crappy new suit. And the thing is, I say that because it feels like an eternity ago. It's like, 30 years.
Yeah.
30 years is such a long time.
You've had your whole life in that
Yeah,
span.
and I just think for this family, they had all the time without her. Like, what have they gone through in 3 decades? It's just terrible what the bastard did to them.
Novak Djokovic has spoken publicly for the first time since the end of his deportation saga. He met with Serbia's President Alexander Vučić to thank him for his support after his visa was cancelled twice. And Djokovic says he will tell his story, or his side of the story, shall we say, in the next 10 days.
Having in mind that I have not spoken publicly regarding the events in Australia, and this is the first time that I speak publicly, I ask you for patience because in the next 7 to 10 days, I will address the media with more details with my, so to say, version of the story and everything that happened in Australia.
He's got a lovely speaking voice.
So what's he going to do? Is he doing some checkbook journalism with Serbia's equivalent of 60 Minutes
I
or
think
something?
he is. Yeah, a sit-down tell-all in a dark room with some ominous music playing in the
they love
background.
the ominous music.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cancer patients are being urged to receive a 4th dose of a COVID vaccine. Australia's expert panel on immunisation has approved the injection for individuals aged 16 and over with weakened immune systems. It can only be administered 3 months after a 3rd dose. Education ministers will meet to discuss proposed changes to the draft national curriculum, which are reported to include a bigger emphasis on Western heritage and history. The Herald reports the revised proposal would also remove references to the Anzac legend as contested. A draft decision to delay timetables is also expected to be reversed.
What's contested about it? Who's contesting it? A couple of half-wits on Twitter don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any mainstream sense of
No, there's no mainstream sense of anything.
No. Oh, it's not like Australia Day. I would say Australia Day, quite rightly, should be described as a contested idea because a large number of people don't like it. Large number of people like me are now at the point where you go, well, look, if it means less to us as white Australians in terms of the joy it brings us less joy than the despair and anger and anguish it brings to black people. So I don't care about it anymore.
Yeah,
I would die in a ditch for Anzac Day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's the there's a weirdos with red hair in sociology departments are the only ones who complain about it and say that it glorifies war. It doesn't glorify war.
No. No, have you ever studied any of it or heard anyone speak about it or read anything anyone wrote at the time or the diary entries of people? It's the opposite of glamorisation.
Totally. Yeah, well, they should change it.
All right, 21 after 6. Let's have a look at the weather for the rest of today and the weekend. It's 14.2 degrees outside at the moment, 27 the top today. Looks like a really nice day on the way. Tomorrow will be 30, Sunday 32, Monday 33, Tuesday 34, drops back just by 1 degree on Wednesday to 33 and Thursday 30. So this will be the last day without a 3 in front of it for quite some time, it looks like. 21 after 6. Get to some of your texts shortly on the Telstra Storm Mate Barker text line. Tom Rent in a moment. And remember, have this number plugged into your phone today because this is your last chance. 8223 0055. Have it ready to go because when you hear a clue, you're going to be the first caller through to play Guess Hoolaroo and win this magnificent trip to Uluru on February 25. Clue number 1 coming up after the 6:30 news.
Right now, SA Ambulance Service has never been busier.
000 ambulance emergency.
So I was fishing on a boat and the hook is stuck in my nose.
But every day, 000 receives more and more trivial calls,
My husband fell down and he's broken his big toe.
stopping them from getting to the real emergencies.
I've got a really bad jaw pain from brushing my teeth too hard.
For non-emergencies, visit the Health Direct website and save 000 for when it matters.
IGA's Shop Scratch Win is back. 1 in 5 chance to win a prize with every $30 you spend. While you're there, get Old El Paso dinner kits, $2.90 to 520 gram varieties, $3.50 each, half price. And Darryl Lee chocolate block, $160 to 180 gram varieties, $2.50 each, also half price. Shop Scratch Win, now at IGA. While stocks last, prices at IGA stores only until Feb 8. See website for T's and C's. Permit number SAT211433.
With over 300 destinations, G'day Parks is Australia's largest network of holiday parks. That means it's also Australia's largest network of... Australia's largest network of...
Dinner's ready.
Australia's largest network of... And Australia's largest network of... Download the app or book online at g'dayparks.com.au. It's easy. The hard part is leaving when the holidays are over. G'day Parks. Here's good.
Need an electrician and need one today? Ken Hall Electricians do it all. From lighting, power points and appliance installation to a full house rewire. No job is too big or small. Give Ken a call. Ken Hall Electricians. 8364 5855.
Join St John SA in their final movie night fundraiser at Mainline Drive-In on Saturday, February 12th. See Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, starring Rachel Zegler and Ansel Elgort. Enjoy the iconic Drive-In Cinema's final summer and support the incredible work St John does in our community. All funds raised support first aid in schools, teaching life-saving skills to primary school kids. Don't miss the St John SA Movie Night fundraiser on Saturday, February 12th. Book at stjohnsa.com.au.
This is Brad. Brad loves his aircon set to a frosty 16 degrees. But Brad has a problem. He gets the gilts having it on all day. Well, Brad, save your gilts for giving the family frostbite. Because NRG Solar gives you electricity guilt-free. Just guilt-free cold air all day long.
Electricity guilt-free with NRG.
Maybe I'll sing next time, Brad. NRGsolar.com.au.
FIVEaa Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to FIVEaa Facebook or search FIVEaa on YouTube.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
25 minutes after 6. Guess Uluru coming up very shortly. And then later in the morning, we are going to be chatting with the manager of maritime archaeology at the National Maritime Museum in Sydney about the discovery of the Endeavour. But much sooner than that, after 7, Amon Wolf from Collective Minds will be on the program. Big story that is developing as we speak regarding a series of retractions from 9 newspapers and
massive climb down.
Huge
massive climb down.
Massive.
I know a little bit about defamation, having done a bit of it in my spare time over the years, but that is an absolute bollocking for the Fairfax group.
Yep.
9 group.
We will old habits.
Yeah.
We will get into that after 7. Amon Wolf will be on the program. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio right now. Uluru Weekender by private jet direct from Adelaide. Departs February 25. Book ntnow.com.au. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will and David. Yeah, boys, just on that, I wanted to just elaborate a little bit further. A full statement's been released. I know you're going to go further into this just after 7 o'clock this morning. The Nine Network, the Age newspaper, and journalists Caroline Wilson and Sam McClure have apologised, issued retractions, and agreed to pay all legal costs to High Performance Mindset Training Specialist Collective Mind and its directors, Amon Wolf, who you're talking to, and Derek Letty, after a series of articles and interviews were broadcast and published by media outlets about the 2018 Crows pre-season training camps.
The other bit that's worth adding to, Tom, is the extent of the apology is like it's so fulsome, it's so over the top. The 2 media entities and high profile journalists now acknowledge, this is a direct quote, the camp was run in good faith and with the players' interests front of mind. So it's a total climb down.
So, and they were retracting, 14 articles and a couple of videos. I mean,
pulling them off the websites, yeah.
When this, and I defer to you, David, because you've run newspapers and had to go through this a number of times. When this doesn't sound like there's any specific issue with the reporting, as in there's no, well, we got that detail wrong and we'll endeavour to, correct it. Sounds like the whole thing. This is a wholesale retraction of the entire story. I don't recall ever seeing anything quite of this scale before.
No, well, that's certainly what it looks like.
And this is
although what I would say though is there are times where media organisations get done for defamation because the people who've told them things won't back them up in court.
Right.
Because I would say I know people who were at the camp who I've spoken to privately who said the camp sucked.
Yep.
This was what we didn't like about this part of it. Yep. So there are people who had. There certainly were complaints from some people about the camp. The problem is, it became such a sort of long-running thing that in some people's minds and imaginations, by the end of it, it almost sounded like the plot line for the Manchurian Candidate. There were people going, "Oh yeah, have you heard that someone was drugged and then had a potato sack put over their head and had to listen to watch the entire 2017 finals campaign on a loop whilst taking LSD?" Like, yeah, no, I haven't heard that, but thanks. Yeah. Thanks for that pile of tosh.
Well, and this all came off the back of Safe Work SA last year in September, basically clearing Collective Mind in September. So that's
Safe Work SA deserve a kick up the butt too, because they took months and months and months to do that. Pathetic. That could have resolved this so much sooner.
Yeah, exactly. That did drag on. So, look, I'm really looking forward to that interview after 7 o'clock that you boys will have with Amon Wolf. So we'll hear from him in about 40 minutes or so. Just on a little bit of other football news, it looked like Charlie Dixon was going to avoid surgery, but he's now gone under the knife. He's gone interstate because, of course, we don't have the elective surgery here in SA at the moment, so he's had to go elsewhere. So the club is still hopeful that he'll be okay for the start of the season, but given it's ankle surgery, you'd think it's probably going to be touch and go.
How long would that normally take, you reckon?
Oh, I would think more around the sort of 3-month period.
Yeah.
By the time
I was surprised they said yesterday they thought he'd be back by round 1.
Look, I hope that's
Seriously?
right.
Yeah.
But, by the time he gets conditioning and, the full running into him.
Port have got a few problems with their forward line, haven't they?
Orazio Fantasia's another one who they're umming and ahhing about whether or not he has the surgery for his knee. So I really rate Orazio. I think he's such an important player.
Port know better than anyone. Doesn't matter what you do at the start of the season, it matters how it ends.
Yeah.
There should be no risks taken with any of these blokes.
Yeah.
If you start slow, don't worry about it. You know you're good enough to play finals.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure everyone's fit for when it matters.
Yeah. Yeah, spot on.
On you, Rennie.
Good stuff, boys.
Thanks, Tom. Excellent. All right, we're going to take a break. 5AA News on the way. And guess Hoolaroo coming up in just a moment.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 27 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
Apologies and retractions. That's what the Nine Network and 2 football journalists from The Age, including Caroline Wilson, have issued over the Crows pre-season camp in 2018. Collective Mind, who ran the camp, has welcomed the development after launching legal action. Selected stories in print and videos will now be retracted. The camp on the Gold Coast was investigated and cleared by both the AFL's Integrity Unit and Safe Work SA. A house at Lightsview is looking a little worse for wear this morning. A car went into the North Parkway property around midnight. It reportedly hit the bedroom wall. Only days into Term 1, it's been revealed hundreds of SA school staff are already sidelined by COVID. Almost 200 teachers and over 170 support staff have the virus or are in isolation. The Education Union's Andrew Gold says it's concerning.
We've said all along that we want the maximum amount of protection for our staff and students in preschools and schools, and to be honest, it's been a real struggle to get those protections in place. And I think we can predict they're going to spread really wildly through our workplaces, and parents, as we predicted, can expect some disruption.
New data shows people are choosing childcare and nursing courses as part of the federal government's Job Trainer program. Nine's Michael Packy has more.
The Job Trainer scheme was introduced in mid-2020. The $2 billion program funds low-fee TAFE courses to help school leavers seeking a vocational job or trade. The program also helps older workers who want to upgrade their existing skills or train in a new job. Latest data shows more than 313,000 enrolments, around half of which are in New South Wales. Most people are taking up childcare, community services and nursing courses.
Yesterday, Australian maritime experts revealed the wreck of Captain Cook's Endeavour had been discovered off Rhode Island. But archaeologists in the US are now saying the announcement was premature. They say while the shipwreck is consistent with what might be expected after all this time, there hasn't been any indisputable data found to prove it's the iconic vessel. Russia is stepping up its military challenges to the West, carrying out one of its biggest troop movements since the Cold War. Nine's Europe correspondent Brett McLeod has the latest.
For the second day in a row, Britain's Air Force has scrambled to intercept Russian bombers flying near UK waters. It's the latest military manoeuvring as the Ukraine crisis continues to boil. NATO says the movement of 30,000 Russian forces, including special forces, to Belarus on Ukraine's northern border is the biggest such deployment there in decades. Yet Ukraine's defence minister maintains the threat of Russian military escalation is low.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide. Departs February 25th. Book at ntnow.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. We're going to start with cricket. A 4-wicket haul from 18-year-old Darcy Brown has helped Australia retain the Women's Ashes series with a 27-run win over England in the first one-dayer. Australia set a total of 205 at Canberra's Manuka Oval before bowling the visitors out for 178. Brown says she didn't think she'd play such a big role in the series.
I wasn't really expecting to play too much. We just, thinking I was going to run drinks. But, I guess that just is credit to the coaches and my teammates that have backed me in and have full belief.
Meantime, Justin Langer's coaching future is set to be decided today with the Cricket Australia board to meet to decide his fate. At the Winter Olympics in Beijing, Jakara Anthony has booked her place in the final of the women's freestyle mogul skiing after topping her heat. The opening ceremony will be held later tonight with figure skater Brendan Kerry and aerial skier Laura Peel to carry the Aussie flag. Let's go to soccer, and Adelaide United can move to the top of the A-League with a win against Sydney FC at home tonight. Meantime, the Newcastle Jets have jumped off the bottom of the table with a 2-1 win against Brisbane. The winner, a spectacular goal coming midway through the second half.
And Goodings! What a hit! The Jets lead restored through a crowd of players. That's Macklin Freak.
Audio there thanks to Channel 10. And champion jockey Damien Oliver is having scans on his neck after a barrier accident in Victoria. The incident happened yesterday afternoon as he was preparing for the last race of the day. Oliver was taken away in an ambulance. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win a $3 million grand prize and $2 million early bird prize in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
27 today and mostly sunny tomorrow 30 and up to 32 on Sunday. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
"24 minutes to 7. Getting a whole bunch of feedback on Twitter to at 5AA Breakfast and on the Telstra Stilmat Barker text line. Revelations this morning that a settlement has been reached between Collective Minds and some 9 media entities, including swathes of reporting by Sam McClure and Caroline Wilson that has been retracted regarding the infamous, well, maybe not so now, Crows camp. We're going to speak with Eamon Wolf from Collective Minds after 7 o'clock this morning, but there's lots of that to sift through, and we'll be doing that in just a moment. Right now, though, we have another clue for you. In fact, it's just been walked into me. For Guess Hoolaroo. All thanks to NT now. The Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide, includes accommodation and touring. Departs February 25th. Book now at ntnow.com.au. It's been fun playing this game.
I've loved it.
Bit sad this is the last one today.
Yeah.
So listen closely, have your phones ready, and good luck to you. The first clue of the morning. I was born in South Australia and have an AO.
Okay.
Born in SA and have an AO.
Order of Australia.
Yes.
So they're outstanding in their field.
Yes. 8223 is the number.
What is their field?
This is a departure this morning. First time we haven't started with their. We've started with the plaudits and not the occupation. So,
yeah.
But it's in many ways it's actually made this a smaller group for the first clue. Because when you say someone, I'm a musician, okay, great,
not that small.
But it's a smaller pool of people that are South Australian born with, official recognitions from the governor.
What about Gina Reinhardt got an AO?
For services to inheritance?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Services to getting a whole pile of money from your dad. It's a bit like Donald Trump, a self-made man.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, Dad gave me $1 million.
David in Campbelltown is the first caller through with the first chance to win Guess Hoolaroo this morning. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning, guys. I'm expecting that.
Yeah, Dave, I've got to say, mate, you're 70 metres out from goal, kicking into a stiff breeze after the siren's gone, so all the very best of luck to you. Crazier things have happened.
Blighty did it.
Thank you.
Blighty did do it.
Come on, David. Who do we like?
I'll try the lovely Anne Wills.
Good one.
Willsy.
I like that guess.
Born in South Australia? No, she was born
Wasn't she born in Fiji?
I think she was born in the Marshall Islands, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was born somewhere in the South Pacific. Bad
David,
luck, mate.
Sorry.
Good guess, though.
Yeah, no, good guess. Good way to get us started.
Marshall Islands.
I'll have to look, 'cause that's off the top of my head. It's somewhere with a population of, just a handful of people. We will
Kiribati or somewhere.
Yeah, it's something like that. We will have another clue for you coming up in the next half hour.
No, she was born in Wangaratta.
Really?
Yeah. Wangaratta.
Where did she grow up?
Okay, she was born in Wangaratta, Victoria in 1944. When she was 3 years old, her family moved to Ocean Island in the Pacific, which is now part of Kiribati.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Victoria, as we said.
Yeah.
Larry in Salisbury Downs, good morning.
Oh, g'day. How you going there, boys?
Good, thanks, Larry.
I was bringing up the conversation about the problem here about voting on the electoral day, right? And I had come up with an idea that they should run it for, let's say, 2 days, right? Have all the non-positive personnel go on the Saturday, do that all day one day. Then on a Sunday, all the positive people get a special exemption, plus the elderly homes and what have you, because they're in lockdown most of their life anyway. And run it that way. Then on Wednesday, count all the postal votes and all the voting all together, and come up with a solution then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that would work. Well, I mean, it's not logistically, you'd think. The second part of it, what are we, 30,000 odd people in isolation? I mean, it's a medium-sized Adelaide Oval crowd worth. Like that's not a huge exercise.
No.
To facilitate. So I think there's probably something in Larry's.
Who facilitates it though?
Well, the Electoral Commission.
They wouldn't have the staff to do that.
But aren't they doing 1 million people on the Saturday?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, it's just who would want to work it, I guess, is that's the problem. But I got a breaking at 8 about it today. Have you?
Got some more intel.
I'll tell you what.
Got 2 breakings at 8. Is it breakings at 8?
It's definitely breakings at 8.
Attorneys General?
MSP. Listening to Graham Goodings' show, Dad's show yesterday. I mean, I have a great degree of faith in our democracy, but because of this situation at the moment, there's a lot of people that are registering to pre-poll for the first time. And one, I think, called in, and then there was a host of them yesterday who suddenly discovered they didn't exist. There was one guy who rang in yesterday saying, well, I want to register to pre-poll. The Electoral Commission say, no, you died in 1996. And he said, well, no, I'm here. And what's more, I've voted in every election since. So have I had my thing scrubbed off the marker, the ledger when you go in, but you say I don't exist? And then all these other people rang in saying, oh, yeah, I was told I don't exist. I tried to register my mum or my friend, and no, they don't exist.
Let's do breaking at 6:40.
No, don't. Okay.
Well, the other one I've got is really good and really meaty, and we'll take a bit of telling. So, folks, you'll remember over yesterday, quite a few people texted into the show jokingly saying, well, if the problem is that people have got the coronavirus and they can't vote in the fortnight leading up to the election, we've got an obvious place where they could vote safely from the safety of their cars, which is the Victoria Park Racecourse.
Yes.
Now, my understanding is that is the actual option under consideration between SA Health and the Electoral Commission. We might have probably the world's first drive-through election.
Oh, drive-through democracy.
Drive-through democracy.
I think that's a great idea.
It's solid.
And I would
a solid tip that I've got. And you would rock up and there would be, I think, SA Health staff in full PPE, and you'd get your ballot. I don't think you'd need to have your name crossed off the register because you'd have that information through the electoral app or whatever. But my understanding is that the Victoria Park Racecourse is under active consideration as a polling booth for the 20,000 eligible voters who are likely to be in isolation at the time.
Breaking at 6:43, I like that.
It's a
And
good
what's
story,
more,
isn't it?
that is a service that should endure beyond COVID. I think drive-through voting would be excellent.
Do you want fries with that?
Yeah. Would you like preferences with that?
Yeah.
And to round it out, would you like could I interest you in a little-known independent?
That's right. Do you get a Happy Meal for the kids?
No, thank you. I'll just take above the line.
Yeah. You need a big dashboard to get the upper house ticket in as well.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to fill them all out.
Might need like an old Kingswood or something.
Imagine trying to just race through and do your vote and the person in front's going 1 to 65.
Oh, you don't want people vote below the line. Fill out all the boxes. It's a good story though, isn't it?
It's a great story. And that feels to me like good fodder for the headline a little bit later in the morning as well. All right,
Yes.
let's check
good one,
traffic. Do you have an existing BMW service inclusive package? We'll book your next day service at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. The road's flowing pretty well this morning. Simply some roadworks. Keep your eye out for at Trinity Gardens. She's slow going again today. That's for those intersection upgrade works at Portrush and McGill Roads. Also got works at Myrtle Bank. That's around Cross, Glen Osmond and Portrush Road for the intersection upgrade there. Cameras this morning, Nelson Road, Paravista, Stradbroke Road, Newton and Wandana Avenue at Gillis Plains. At Amart Furniture, pay with Latitude interest-free to get a bonus gift card up to $1,000. Only at Amart. Approved customers only. Conditions, fees, charges, minimum spend criteria apply. See in store for details. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
In parts of Norway, it's not uncommon for homeowners to find a polar bear in their driveway. And in Adelaide, polar bear sightings are on the rise thanks to Polar Air Heating and Cooling. The only bear you'll see is on the side of our vans. For a home as cool as a Norwegian chalet, call Polar Air Heating and Cooling for professional and prompt installation. Polar Air Heating and Cooling. When your lair is unbearable. polarairhc.com.au.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. G'day Parks, Australia's largest network of holiday parks. Download the app today. G'day Parks, here's good. Visit g'dayparks.com.au today.
G'day, it's Jared. The iconic Wavell Australian Motors Mitsubishi Service Centre on Goodwood Road is going through a rebuild. Now, while that's in progress, please drive into Davenport Lane to drop your vehicle off to the incredible Wavell service team, driven by Australian Motors.
At Southern Cross Care, we understand that your retirement needs are unique. That's why we offer better retirement living options at a location and price to suit your lifestyle. Affordable, beautifully refurbished one-bedroom units from Payneham to Paraka to Plympton. All homes are well appointed with maintenance taken care of. Plus, you'll have access to Southern Cross Care's award-winning services. These vibrant, welcoming communities offer a better retirement lifestyle. For more on retirement living, Google Southern Cross Care.
Are you ready for bigger and better things? Automasters need more quality technicians, service advisors and franchisees to join SA's leading automotive service and repair group. With over 20 branches and new centres opening soon, Automasters offer clean workshops, the latest diagnostic equipment with ongoing training and promotion opportunities at every level. Technicians, service advisors, franchisees. Go to the Automasters website to apply. We could be just the change you're looking for.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
There's nothing left, all gone and run away.
12 minutes to 7. Time to check in with Safepol. Senior Constable Dave Muir joins us. What have you, Dave?
Good morning.
Now, you've arrested a woman for in a pursuit overnight.
Yeah, this started at in the CBD, in fact, just after 10 o'clock last night. We received some reports of a woman behaving a bit erratically on Frome Street before she was seen to get into a Commodore sedan and drive off. Patrols then spotted her on North Terrace, tried to pull her over. She refused, and there was a pursuit for a short distance where the woman was seen to drive onto the wrong side of the road on East Terrace. Now, Polair was up, followed the cars that drove in a dangerous manner through the east and northeastern suburbs until blowing a tyre on Northeast Road after it was spiked. Now, the driver stopped on Reservoir Road at Modbury and was arrested. So this 31-year-old woman from Queensland's been charged with a number of offences, including driving dangerous to escape police, driving in a manner dangerous. She's also charged with possessing a dangerous article and possess a controlled drug after a taser and amount of methamphetamine was located in her car. So she's been refused bail. She'll front the Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
Sounds like a real charmer. Dave, also, cars driven into a house at Lightsview.
Yeah, this was just after midnight. Emergency crews were called to North Parkway after a white Renault crashed into the front of a home. Now, the driver, a 20-year-old Lightsview woman, wasn't physically injured but was taken to hospital as a precaution. Thankfully, the two occupants of the home who were actually in the room that the car crashed into at the time were not injured. So MFS and SES crews secured that structure while the car was towed from the scene, and police investigations into the circumstances
that led to that crash are ongoing.
And also, Dave, there was a bit of a fire overnight.
Yeah, just after 2:30, police and MFS crews were called to Kennedy Street after reports that a house under construction was on fire. And when emergency services arrived at the scene, the fire had died down. However, damage had still been caused to the new home. Police believe the fire has been deliberately lit. Our crime scene investigators will be attending the scene later this morning to assist with that. We are asking with anyone with information, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers as always, 1800 333 000.
Good on you, Dave. Thank you for that. Senior Constable Dave Muir from SAPOL. Jenny Horvat is on duty at the Weather Bureau. Jenny, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will.
So how's the weekend look for Adelaide?
Oh, look, we've got a dry and warm weekend coming up. So mostly sunny today. We've seen a little bit of low cloud on the eastern slopes of the Mount Lofty Ranges, but that's disappearing very, very quickly. We could see a little bit of high cloud drifting across from the west, but pretty much a sunny day ahead for Adelaide. We had our minimum temperature of 12.7 this morning. That happened just after 5:30am, and we're currently sitting at 14 degrees at our West Terrace Nidapira site. We are aiming for 27 degrees for the city. Also for Glenelg, and we're looking at around 28 degrees for Elizabeth. 26 for Glenelg, for Noarlunga, and Mount Barker aiming for 25 degrees for today. So mostly sunny on Saturday, aiming for 30 degrees after a minimum temperature of 17. Starting to warm up a little bit overnight, so Sunday's minimum's looking at around 20 degrees with a maximum of 32 degrees. Those warm to hot conditions will continue for the start of next week. Minimum temperature for Monday, 21 degrees up to 33. We're looking at around 34 degrees on the Tuesday. Wednesday's forecast, we've got a bit of a change moving through. Looks a little bit quicker than we thought, so that we'll be looking at that during the day. So that's likely to change this afternoon. So it might be a little bit cooler. We might actually a little bit of precipitation as we head towards the middle of the week, guys.
Interesting. Hey, Jenny, just before you go, I know you guys are a little bit sceptical of the science of the long-range forecast, but we are we're sending a whole bunch of listeners off to Uluru towards the end of the month, February 25. Got any sense of what it might be like there for them then?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. It's been a bit of interesting start for them. I had a bit of a look. It's been a wet start. So far for this month, thinking we're only 4 days in, they've seen about 70 plus millimetres of rain, and that's after 84 millimetres that they saw in January. So I guess that's going to be quite good for the wildlife and the wildflowers if it dries up a little bit. And they're on a bit of a warming trend like we are now. So by the end of next week, they'll be pushing temperatures into the mid to high 30s, and that's about average what you'd see for February there, something in the mid to high 30s. But yeah, it's been a little bit of an unusual year, and yeah, we struggled to do that at the best of times, and with the La Nina playing effect, it could be raining, or they could be having something in the mid 30s. But yeah, average temperatures usually around sort of 36, 37, with minimums of around 20 if things are staying about average. So we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Does Uluru even really have discernible seasons, Jenny? Like being smack bang in the middle of the desert, it's pretty much hot all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, most of the time it gets quite cool in winter actually, so yeah, with those clear skies. But yeah, going in Feb, you probably should be still having some warm nights.
Slip, slop, slap. Good stuff. Thanks for that, Jenny.
Right,
have a great weekend.
Good on you, Jenny. It's actually interesting information because we forget it has been unseasonably wet, and it will make the trip all the more unique. You're going to get to see it at a time looking in a way that probably not a lot of people get to. So I think it'll make it quite spectacular. I mean, it'd be nice if it was 30 and clear.
There'd be wildflowers that just instantly sort of come out.
Absolutely.
Bought some sturt desert peas the other day.
Did you?
I love those things.
How patriotic of you.
Yeah, they're annuals though. I don't really plant annuals as a matter of course. I think they're a waste of time. Unless they're herbs to eat.
Okay.
I don't buy, pansies or anything like that.
No, I didn't pick you as a pansy guy.
No. Thank you.
See what I did? I made that nice. I could have gone really lowbrow there.
You did, yeah.
But I chose the high road.
What was the Hillary Clinton thing? They go low, we go high. That's Will's motto.
That's right. Hillary and I are in lockstep. Okay. Now,
what's Sam doing in here?
Sam Daddo has wandered in.
Sam.
Morning, Sam. Good to have you back.
Hey, dudes. How are you?
Dudes.
Immortalised by John Blake yesterday.
Sam's out of ISO.
Yes, I am. I'm back. Seeing Lucy's still not back, I thought, and I haven't asked her permission for this, I thought I'd borrow her segment, Lucy's Podium.
Oh, good idea.
Right. I would change it into Sam's Final Countdown.
Oh, hang on. Final Countdown.
It's the final. There you go.
Oh, here we go. Smooth, bro. Look at that. See what happens when you're in here and not out there. Things fall apart.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole idea of this is I'm taking it off your hands. I'm doing the 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
I'm setting the podium.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So coming in at number 3.
$13.95. Adelaide's 5AA. This is Leith Forest.
Well, yes, it is. Good afternoon, everyone. Sitting in for Jade Robert on this Tuesday, the first day of February. It is 28 minutes to 2. Jade is out with COVID protocol.
I should have probably set this up a bit better. My top 3 is the best fill-ins of all time.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I left that one out.
Yeah, okay.
So we've had Tuggers and we've had Rubian all week covering the shifts. So that was number 3.
Okay.
Here's number 2.
This is Leith Forest.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday to you. Sitting in for Leon Biney. If you'd like to join the conversation, 8223 0000.
Okay.
You might see a theme developing here.
Yes.
And at number 1...
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast with Leith Forest.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome along. 5AA Breakfast. Sitting in with David and Will, who are returning on Friday for a bumper final show for 2021.
As Rowie would say, he's a man for a crisis.
So, yeah, Mr. Versatile, the ultimate filling.
He certainly is.
I like that. He swept the awards.
What about out there in the glass terrarium, the producer's booth, Sam? It's become this sort of constant surprise. Will and I come in every day. We're not sure who's going to be in there. I half expected that Chilean bloke who plays the synthesizer busking in the Rundle Mall to get a turn as the assistant producer.
He's in on Monday.
But it's so good that you're out of ISO because
Thanks, mate.
chillingly, terrifyingly, you were
this is
the
thing.
close contact of somebody who does not have the coronavirus. So in an abundance of caution, you did us and the state the right thing by totally upending our entire work schedule to make sure that you were safe and did not get exposed to Lucy, who does not have the coronavirus.
Yeah, I was watching along, and I didn't find it as amusing as you guys did. But I'm happy. I'm happy to become the pin-up boy of someone who's a close contact of someone who definitely doesn't have COVID.
How were the symptoms? When did they peak?
I don't even know, mate.
What'd you do for 7 days?
Produced the show from home.
Yeah, you were still working, weren't you? Because I've seen the
Yeah.
text messages.
Yeah. So yeah.
To the extent that I pay any attention at all. But
I know. It's been a fun week.
Good on you,
it
Sam.
is seriously
Thanks,
absurd.
Good
on
to have you
mate.
in.
Thanks, Sam.
What do we call that? Sam's Countdown.
Yeah. Play it
Lucy's-
again.
Yeah, okay. Why not? You know what this does?
It's the final countdown.
Reminds me of like 97 at Football Park. I think this would play either pre-game or at halftime or probably both. It sort of happened all the time.
One of the greatest exponents of what I like to call ESL rock. Because you can just hear that faint Scando accent. A bit like the song Winds of Change by the Scorpions, you know. And down to Gorky Park. There's just a little bit of Hans about the singing there.
That's right. Hey, coming up after 7 o'clock this morning, Eamon Wolf from, speaking of the Crows, from Collective Minds, who have had a massive settlement with some 9 media assets, newspapers interstate, and had some 13, 14 stories retracted, videos removed from websites, and the most comprehensive apology you are ever likely to read. Collective Minds will have said they've been vindicated. We'll be speaking with Eamon Wolf very, very shortly. Also coming up after 7:30 today, Phil Curry will join us and we'll wrap what has been a massive week for the Prime Minister Scott Morrison in federal politics.
Hi, this is Michael Arvin, the South Australian lead Senate candidate for the United Australia Party. We believe in the most basic freedoms of parliamentary democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from fear, and freedom of association. The heavy-handed tactics of the South Australian Police in disbanding a members' meeting of the United Australia Party in Port Lincoln on Tuesday evening should sound alarm bells for all Australians who value the true meaning of democracy.
Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
I thought I was too old to make new friends. You know, it's been a long time. I wouldn't know how. But when I moved to FIVEaa, I was thrilled at how welcoming everyone was. Now I play cards with my friend Jan, go line dancing with Lorna, and then we all meet up for happy hour on Fridays. Yep, I wish I'd made the move to FIVEaa sooner.
There's never been a better time to take the first step to great retirement living. Search FIVEaa First Step today.
I'm Dr. Michael Mosley. Much like a hybrid car, your body runs on 2 main energy sources, sugar and fat. Intermittent fasting encourages your body to flip from one to the other, burning through your fat stores quickly, which is the basis of our new program, the Fast 800. With our free 7-day trial, you'll soon be able to see and feel the impact of our science-based program. Sign up at thefast800.com today.
Hi, it's Jane Riley here. I hope you enjoyed my amazing virtual Victorian road trip as much as I did sharing it with you. Thanks to the travel experts at RAA, we explored Victoria's great southern touring route, including the Great Ocean Road. I hope it's inspired you to get up and go and see what's possible in Victoria. Remember, you can enjoy exclusive RAA member benefits on your next Victorian getaway. Just Google RAA Travel for more info.
Keep on moving on.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 27 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra care, extra clean, extra safe. Book today, physioextra.com.
A scare for residents at Lightsview. Senior Constable Dave Muir says a car slammed into their bedroom wall around midnight.
Thankfully, the two occupants of the home were actually in the room that the car crashed into at the time, were not injured. So MFS and SES crews secured that structure while the car was towed from the scene, and police investigations into the circumstances that led to that crash are ongoing.
It happened at North Parkway. The driver, a 20-year-old woman, was not physically injured but was taken to hospital as a precaution. A woman from interstate has been involved in a police chase. The brief pursuit in the CBD last night started after she was reported for driving erratically but was called off due to safety concerns. Patrols then tracked the vehicle by air and it blew a tyre at Modbury after spikes were used. The 31-year-old from Queensland has been charged with numerous offences. She was allegedly carrying a taser and methamphetamine. The Crows' infamous pre-season camp in 2018 is back in the headlines. The Nine Network and two football journalists from The Age, including Caroline Wilson, have apologised to the organisation who ran the camp 4 years ago on the Gold Coast. Selected stories and videos will now be retracted. Collective Mind has welcomed the development after launching legal action. Retailers are likely to pass higher shipping costs on to customers, sparking fresh inflation fears. Nine's Clinton Maynard has the story.
The price of a typical lounge at leading retailer Nick Scali was made up of 10% shipping, but that's risen to 25%. And the company has warned, at least in the short term, shipping costs are going to keep rising. That's likely to affect a range of goods and not just furniture. Nick Scali is the first of the major retailers to post first half profits down 17%, with COVID supply chain issues starting to bite. Other companies are also expected to take a hit.
President Joe Biden has this morning praised US Special Forces for a raid in Syria that led to the death of the Islamic State terror group's top leader. Nine correspondent Alison Petrowski reports.
Haji Abdullah was cornered in a residential apartment block in Syria overnight. When approached, the global leader of ISIS detonated a suicide bomb, killing himself and members of his own family, including women and children.
The United States military forces successfully removed a major terrorist threat to the world, the global leader of ISIS.
After months of planning, President Joe Biden signed off on the ground operation as opposed to an airstrike in order to protect innocent civilians living on the ground floor of the apartment block. Haji Abdullah had been leading the terrorist organisation since 2019 after their previous leader, al-Baghdadi, was killed by US forces.
And a French brewer has made blue beer by using algae with a naturally occurring pigment. It's been described as light with a fruity note. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide. Departs February 25th. Book at ntnow.com.au.
Blue beer, what do you reckon, Tom Wren?
Yeah, I'm not so sure, but I guess, you know what, if it tastes the same and is the same, then the colour shouldn't really matter.
It shouldn't.
Exactly. Let's start with some football now. Mel. Port Adelaide forward Charlie Dixon has had surgery on his injured ankle interstate, and he's now recovering. The club is still hopeful he will be okay to start the season. Aerial skier Laura Peel and figure skater Brendan Kerry have been named flag bearers for tonight's opening ceremony at the Winter Olympics. It's the first time two athletes have been chosen to lead the team into the stadium. Peel is competing at her third Olympics. She says representing Australia this year is even more special.
At the best of times, it's not easy to qualify for an Olympic Games. The past 2 years have been particularly challenging. They've got a really strong and resilient team. To be able to walk out with them and wave the flag is such an honour.
Freestyle skier Jakara Anthony has her sights set on Australia's first medal at the Winter Olympics. She's topped her heat in the moguls to qualify for Sunday's final, as has Brittany Cox. Our mixed doubles curling team has suffered losses, though, to China and the Czech Republic. Let's go to cricket now, and Australia's women have retained the Ashes following a 27-run win against England in their one-day in Canberra, the Aussies winning that match by 27 runs. In football, China has defeated Japan on penalties to move into the final of the Women's Asia Cup. South Korea has beaten the Philippines 2-0 in the other semi-final. And Racing Victoria says scans on champion jockey Damien Oliver's neck have returned clear of any fracture after a barrier incident at Warrnambool. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
Looking pretty good on the roads this morning. Simply some roadworks to keep in mind. Myrtle Bank, speeds reduced for works around the intersection of Cross, Glen Osmond and Portrush Road at the bottom of the freeway. Ovingham, Torrens Road at Churchill Road, speeds at 40 k's, and slow going Trinity Gardens this morning. That's for the works around Portrush and McGill Roads. Cameras, Grand Junction Road, Hope Valley, Grave Street and Newsom. Reboot your weight loss goals in 2022 with WW's new personal points program. Start losing weight today with 50% off at www.com. Hurry and see. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
There's double the fun with 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
27 today and mostly sunny tomorrow 30, Sunday partly cloudy 32. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
6 after 7, we've got another clue for Guess Hoolaroo coming up in just a moment. We'll take you through some of the developing news. Some Cold War-esque shenanigans going on between the UK and Russia. We'll play some audio of an incursion into British, well, not technically British airspace, but British sphere of influence. The language is technical, but you'll understand as it gets teased out very, very shortly. But again, that all suddenly feels very sort of 1982. And then some controversy from the set of The Masked Singer in the United States.
This is a great story.
Wouldn't typically expect that, but we'll talk about it very shortly.
Possibly the most half-witted program ever invented, yet somehow strangely compelling.
Oh, yeah, well, it's either plunged to new depths or reached new heights, depending on your perspective. Maybe
That's
both.
right. Well, look, it was a story that dominated headlines in this town for years. It paralysed the biggest football club in this state. It became an unmanageable PR crisis, and it was led largely by a group of Melbourne-based journalists, some of whom ran with any old bit of fanciful tittle-tattle, where the notorious Crows camp took on such a life of its own that no rumour was too outlandish to be explored. I'm sure that people listening to this show got texts, got emails, got DMs on Twitter. A mate of a mate told me this. Have you heard that? It was an absolute clearinghouse for the purest form of BS. Eamon Wolf is one of the principals at Collective Mind, the sort of corporate psychology and training firm that ran the infamous camp. Well, in a massive legal win, the Nine Network, the Age newspaper, and the journalists Caroline Wilson and Sam McClure have not only apologised, they've issued retractions, and they have agreed to pay all legal costs to the high-performance mindset training specialists Collective Mind. We have Director Eamon Wolf on the line now. Eamon, this is a pretty emphatic victory.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, hey? It's been a pretty drawn-out legal process, and I was just reflecting this morning, it's been 4 years and 2 days since that camp was run. So what a saga.
So I know you guys have done work for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. You've done work for some of the biggest names in sport and also the corporate world. How much damage did this do to your business?
Yeah, look, 2018, we took a fair hit. There's no doubt about that. It was sort of an completely unmanageable situation for everyone involved. But, we weathered it. Our loyal clients stuck with us. The people who knew us and knew who we were really stayed loyal, and we've worked our way through it, and we've continued. We found a way. It's just been a testament to resilience and finding a way, and this story has been that.
It felt like it was hard to respond to it, and I know on our show we were critical of the Crows and thought that their media strategy was timid. And that they needed to get on the front foot and challenge some of the stuff that was being said. But at the same time, they seemed to think, and I don't know what your thoughts were, that because of the nature of the story where it was just the rumour mill on steroids, they didn't even know what they were responding to half the time.
Yeah, and even when there were responses going out, it wasn't believed, or it was twisted or turned into something else. I think we're all sitting there just trying to figure out, in the fog of war as it was all happening, what to do. Would some things have been done differently? Probably. But, in the end, through investigation, the top safety regulator in the state has looked under every stone and cleared it. There's no findings. There's nothing to see. So, a 9 in the age have acknowledged that. And finally, at last, the record's going to get set straight.
You've been able to tease out how it got to this point. I mean, the disgruntlement is one thing, but as for a story to continue and have there be 13 stories, 2 video interviews, have you got an inkling as to how it grew to that point?
It's a gift they kept on giving, wasn't it?
Well, not to you.
It just grew legs, and I think, as you said in the lead, the front to this, us chatting this morning, is the rumour mill just went insanely crazy, and everything was viable and on the table, as and everyone knew the facts, and everyone knew the truth, and everyone knew what happened out there. And as we've said in the press release, honestly, in our opinion, our experience, there's been sections of the media that have blatantly just manufactured outrage around this.
Would you work with an AFL club again?
Yeah. I don't know. We'd have to have a conversation about it, mate. I'm pretty, still working. We work with a lot of individual athletes, but
Well, let me put it a different way. Is there something unique about the environment, with the scrutiny, the focus, the amount of media devoted to covering the AFL, that means there are added risks?
There are definitely added risks for working in professional sport. I think senior coaches feel it as well. The players feel it. Like it is such a highly scrutinised and criticised environment. If you're doing well, then that's so great. But when you're not, then the knives can come out. So it's a tough environment. It's a lovely environment. It's a great environment to work in. Like, what an incredible industry, but it has its downsides.
Did it frustrate you that our Premier referred this or said that this should be referred to Safe Work SA, and that subsequently Safe Work SA sat on their hands for months before finally, eventually, fully clearing the camp only in September of last year?
Yeah, well, if you took the initial reporting in July of 2020 at face value, then I'm sure anyone would look at it and have some concerns. Or a lot of people have come in publicly and said a range of things about it. But I think the most disappointing thing for us, all through this whole 4 years, is that no one's picked up the phone to have a chat to us or fact check it, or find out the real story.
The only guy you blokes spoke to at all throughout this process was our own Graham Corn here at 5AA, wasn't it, Eamon?
Yep, he's the only one that reached out. He's been a soul soldier and a believer in this, and we're very grateful that he gave us the voice to get the story out as well. yeah, it's a pretty lonely place when you don't have many friends out there in an experience like this.
Have you had any contact with any of the players that went to the camp over the course of the last couple of years while this has all been playing out?
Not in the last year, but over the last few years. Yep, I've spoken to.
What, and they reached out offering support and saying they don't know what this is all about?
Yeah, just to check in. We've formed some really deep relationships with people during the time. People think it's just the camp, but we spent that entire year in the 2017 season with the guys, helping them get to the grand final. So there's really relationships that have formed over time. So, as life moves on, you sort of chat less and less. But, there's certainly guys there that we would still pick up the phone and say hi to, for sure.
Amazing story. Eamon Wolf from Collective Minds, thanks so much for coming on the program this morning.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
So there's a couple of other people I reckon will be paying pretty close attention to this. One's Andrew Fagan and one's Don Pike, because their departures were very strongly linked to the way this whole camp fiasco unfolded.
Yep.
I can remember being told something about something that allegedly happened on that camp that was so utterly disgusting that I knew it was total garbage. Someone was pushing it to me as fact. Now, my wife's a board member at the club, and when I heard that thing, I thought I have actually got like a duty to tell her that this is what's doing the rounds. And she was so distressed by it, she immediately spoke to the former chairman, Rob Chapman, about it. Because if it was true, there was potential that the board members at that club could have almost faced criminal charges on account of total failure of duty of care. The thing was, it was complete and utter garbage. Someone had just fabricated it to embarrass and damage the club. The worst thing about it was that it involved something that was allegedly done to a player. So to get to the bottom of it all, the club had to talk to a player about something that was completely fabricated, hugely distressing for him to have to go through the process of even discussing it. And this is where, I spent my life being a journalist, but you got to do better than this. Because you're actually dealing with people's emotional state and mental well-being when you just treat this like some slapdash clearinghouse for crap, which is what it became.
Yep.
Fueled by, I think, a Melbourne-based hostility towards the Crows that's been going on for a while, where, this gaggle of hacks over there think you can just take cheap pot shots at our club.
There's a culture of the free hit. It's a free hit, because what's the pushback?
They're never going to bump into any of the Crows people walking around Richmond, are they?
So you can establish your bona fides is tough by taking a swing at an entity that's never going to be able to swing back at you because they're in a different jurisdiction, and then everyone else gets a free ride closer to home. Yeah, the Crows have been putting up with it for a hell of a long time.
And I know a lot of the people who are involved in this. I mean, totally open about it. I'm an open book about it. And they're good people. They work really, really hard, and they spent years trying to get to the bottom of something that didn't even exist, other than in the warped imaginations of people who had an axe to grind against the Adelaide Football Club. They stuffed a lot of them.
Time to check traffic. A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. You can visit Glenelg BMW today.
Thanks. Well, roads looking pretty good today. Everything's flowing relatively well. Simply some roadworks to look out for today. Trinity Gardens does get slow going there throughout the morning. That's for those upgrade works around Portrush and McGill Roads. Myrtle Bank speeds reduced for works around that intersection, cross Glen Osmond and Portrush Road. And we're down to 40 k's at Hackham Main South Road near River Road. Cameras today, Blacktop Road, One Tree Hill, Grave Street, Newton, and Wandana Avenue at Gillis Plains. The King's Summer Sale ends Sunday. Save up to 50% on Australian design indoor and outdoor furniture. Hurry, visit the King Keswick showroom or shop online kingliving.com today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
The definition of being fully vaccinated hasn't changed to include a booster dose, but an announcement is expected to be made in coming weeks. If you say, I'm fully vaccinated, then that means you've had the booster.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Professor Catherine Bennett, is our vaccination rate as good as it should be?
It really is important, particularly for the older people who are more vulnerable, to know that the booster really does make a difference.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
When everything that you've ever been taught doesn't work, what do you do?
A Fire Inside. Streaming on 9 now. Made possible by NRMA Insurance.
This is the sound of Julian's bargain price vacuum with deep express suction. This is the sound of Julian trying to fix his bargain price vacuum, which infuriates him deeply. Yes, this is the sound of bargain regret. When it comes to the important stuff, like insurance, don't risk it. Go to Amy instead. Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by FIVEaa Limited trading as Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au. TMD also available.
This is Michael Arvin, the South Australian lead Senate candidate for the United Australia Party. The heavy-handed tactics of the South Australian Police in disbanding a members' meeting of the United Australia Party should sound alarm bells for all Australians who value the true meaning of democracy. Our resolve is to break the Liberal-Labor alliance and deliver freedom back to all Australians. Don't let the government take your freedom. Say no to a police state. Vote 1, the United Australia Party.
Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
If you're looking for a personal alert system for an elderly loved one, make sure you pick a system that has been tried and proven. Care Alert has been providing peace of mind for over 15 years. If ever there was a time you need to have the ability to get emergency help while alone, it is right now. Whether you have a sudden illness or a nasty fall, or even hear intruders trying to break in, just a press of a button and help can be on its way. Do yourself a favour and call Care Alert on 1300 75 85 95 or go to carealert.com.au.
Get ready to meet your muse with the all-new Kia Sportage medium SUV. We unleashed our imagination to give you dominating presence and commanding luxury. The Kia Sportage has a strikingly sculpted exterior and soft touch leather interior. SUVs, meet your master. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or head to your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Give me a head with hair.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
27 minutes after 7. Time for Guess Hoolaroo. Clue number 2. 82230055 is the number. I have dual citizenship with Australia and the United States.
Do we know what field this person works in?
No, we don't, but we know some very specific details of them.
Dual citizenship with Australia and the United States.
Yeah.
And they've got an AO.
0055. 82230055. First caller through has the chance to win each and every half hour of the morning, so long as it doesn't go off. This is the final one. Already $16,000 worth of holiday given away on 5AA Breakfast. $4,000 more, possibly in the next 60 seconds. All thanks to NT Now. Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide, including accommodation and touring departs. February 25. Book now at ntnow.com.au. Tom, good morning.
G'day.
How you going there, Tom?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Who do you think it is, Tom?
Well, the only clue I've heard is the dual citizen one. Yeah, I got no idea. Only person I know is Nicole Kidman, who won yesterday.
Yeah, it's
She could've gone
unlikely.
the double.
Unlikely. Sorry, Tom. It's not
Bad
Nicole
luck, Tom.
Kidman.
It's tough early.
It is tough early. Another clue coming up in the next half hour of the program. All right, let's have a quick look at some of the stories that are knocking around this morning. There's one that feels like a story from a previous era. The United Kingdom scrambled Typhoon fighters against Russian aircraft, not for the first time, but for the second time in 2 days, intercepting 2 bombers approaching British airspace. Here is the report from Sky News a little bit earlier this morning.
With the Russian Defence Ministry releasing quite unusually that footage that you were talking about before you came to me of that sort of scramble, yesterday's scramble by the RAF to track the Russian bomber. You could see the Russian pilot filmed in his cockpit, and then you could see the RAF Typhoon jet on both wings as it followed it, presumably just outside UK airspace, signalling. It kind of looks like something from the Cold War, but it actually is something that's happening right now as you have these heated tensions between the two sides.
That's the really curious element about this. There's this video that looks like an advertisement for recruitment for the Russian Air Force, where the pilot's sitting there controlling the plane. The person sitting next to him is obviously doing the filming, high quality, and he's sitting there piloting and doing his stuff, and out the window next to him you can see the Typhoon fighter escorting them out of British airspace.
Apparently one of the first people to see the Russian bomber was Boris Johnson. He was standing in his backyard with a jug of Pimm's at the time.
Whole bunch of people over him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
very fortuitous.
Had the boys round. Some of the older Tonians popped in
Yeah.
there.
He didn't know.
Punching a few quiet ones.
It wasn't a party. It was.
I didn't realise.
It was just there, and then people turned up.
Going to the back
again.
shed, and there were people there.
Well, maybe that's the reality. Maybe the Russians wanted to be invited to the party.
That's right.
I figured you just turn up.
Vlad likes to party.
The best story,
He
I
likes
think,
the disco sounds
going around at the moment comes out of the United States, and it's the mix. It's the perfect mix of politics and the absurd. That's, of course, the moment in The Masked Singer. People who watch The Masked Singer will know where people dressed up in funny costumes get revealed. It's always sort of a very fun moment. Well, it wasn't. Reportedly, behind the scenes at a taping of The Masked Singer in the United States, overnight they recorded the show, and the mask came off, and the singer was Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, former top aide to US President Donald Trump.
Time Man of the Year 2002.
That's right, big-time lawyer in his time. But of late, a very controversial political figure.
He's tarnished a bit now.
Which led to a couple of the judges walking off the set. Hangover actor Ken Jeong and singer Robin Thicke.
Ken Jeong? Is that the guy who plays Chan?
Yeah.
Toodaloo!
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah.
Can't finish that sentence.
Everything about this is just absurd. So Rudy Giuliani's unmasked,
he's fat,
and the star of The Hangover and Robin Thicke decide that they've seen enough and they don't want to be part of it. My favourite element, though, is people have been asking, well, what costume was Rudy Giuliani? It hasn't been... There's no official word yet. But News Limited in Australia reporting unsubstantiated social media claims have outed him as Cupcake Face. Rudy Giuliani, just for people playing at home, was once considered a candidate to be President of the United States. Now, Cupcake Face, leading to a walkout by the star of The Hangover on a singing show in the United States.
It's quite the fall from grace, that one.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, let's turn our attention to sport. Interesting chat on the sports show last night. Former Socceroo Craig Foster has taken to advocacy in his life now on behalf of refugees and people to Australia. Was on last night talking about the boycott at the Winter Olympics in Beijing.
What's happening in China is one of the largest and most egregious human rights atrocities that the world has seen for a very long time. Some reports say up to 2 million Uyghurs, which is an ethnic Turkic minority, whose rights are being abused in various ways. Many countries around the world, and that includes Australia, have raised this at the UN and so on. But what happens is sport goes in there and say, look, it's got nothing to do with that. We don't need to be worried about this at all. All we do is we just come in, we play sport, we leave, and we're completely neutral. I just don't think that's right any longer. I think every sector of society has to be accountable for what we do, where we go, and who we sort of comply with. And now what the IFC is saying is, athletes can't speak out about these things, because the Chinese government's saying, well, we don't want to be embarrassed about Xinjiang and the Uyghurs. So if athletes speak out about it, then they're going to be in trouble. Like, they can be incarcerated. So the Chinese government is threatening the athletes. And I happen to think that athletes, when they've spoken up throughout history, have made huge positive change, and that they should be speaking out. And in fact, the IOC should be supporting that.
Be a lot of Aussie Uyghurs up the road in Blair Athol and so on, around the northern end of Prospect Road, little sort of Uyghur town for Adelaide now. They'd be cheering Foz on hearing that. He's dead right what he says about those poor people who've been treated like absolutely atrociously by Beijing.
Absolutely. 29 minutes after 7.
For the best deal, best service and best experience, you've always gone to Agostino Mitsubishi. Well, here's another incredible reason to visit the team at Nailsworth and Elizabeth, and it's an Australian first. Get 10-year warranty and 10-year cap price servicing on the entire Mitsubishi range. You heard right, that's an incredible 10-year warranty and 10-year cap price servicing on the entire Mitsubishi range. Check it out at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth. Exclusions and conditions, including Mitsubishi servicing, apply.
Fire, fire, go away. Come again, no more hesitate.
Act now to be bushfire ready. Remember to do your 5-minute bushfire plan. Keep it up to date and share it with loved ones today. It's also important to stay informed. Watch the weather and listen to multiple sources of information. Why risk it? Go to cfs.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
It's value the Australian way at Coles with great fresh specials this week. Like sweet juicy Royal Gala apples, 100% South Australian grown and just $3.40 a kilo. This week at Coles. Offer ends Thursday.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 27 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
The group behind the Crows pre-season camp in 2018 hope their latest legal win puts any lingering suspicions over what happened 4 years ago to bed. The Nine Network and 2 football journalists from The Age, including Caroline Wilson, have apologised to Collective Mind for stories and articles in relation to the camp. Selected stories and videos will now be retracted. Eamon Wolfe from Collective Mind has told 5AA Breakfast it's been a long 4 years.
In the end, through investigation, the top safety regulator in the state has looked under every stone and cleared it. And, there's no findings. There's nothing to see. So, and Nine and The Age have acknowledged that. And finally, at last, the record's going to get set straight.
A car's gone into a house at Lightsview. It happened on North Parkway around midnight. The vehicle reportedly hitting a bedroom wall. The 2 residents escaped unhurt. The 20-year-old female driver was taken to hospital as a precaution. SA Health has identified 2 COVID exposure locations from a week ago. Chivago and Fumo Blue are both in the city. The first is a close contact location. The second is considered high risk. Anyone who attended the night spots last Friday night, January 28, or early Saturday morning, January 29, is asked to follow SA Health advice. SA recorded just over 1,500 new COVID cases yesterday and 1 death. A 4th COVID-19 booster dose is being described as a vital layer of protection for the immunocompromised. Australia's expert panel on immunisation recommends the additional injection for those aged 16 and over. It can be administered 3 months after the 3rd dose. Cancer Australia's medical director, Dr Vivian Milch, is urging people to book in.
So it makes a big difference. We have current evidence suggests that there's a reduction in protection against COVID-19 and also that the protection against transmission from vaccinated people who are infected appears to wane over time.
Novak Djokovic has spoken publicly for the first time following last month's deportation saga. The world number 1 has met with the Serbian president to thank him for his support after his visa was cancelled twice. He says he'll tell his side of the story very soon.
Having in mind that I have not spoken publicly regarding the events in Australia, and this is the first time that I speak publicly, I ask you for patience because in the next 7 to 10 days I will address the media with more details with my, so to say, version of the story and everything that happened in Australia.
Ukraine is urging the Australian government to do more to pressure Russia over the ongoing tensions at the country's border. The Ukrainian Foreign Minister wants the Morrison government to sanction Russian officials, ban Moscow's propaganda outlets, and offer more cybersecurity support. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide. Departs February 25th. Book at ntnow.com.au.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide forward Charlie Dixon faces an uphill battle to be fit for the start of the season after having surgery to repair an ankle injury. Fellow forward Orazio Fantasia is yet to decide whether to have surgery on his knee injury. Still on football, and uncapped crowds could fill the MCG for round 1 of the season next month. Nine's Dennis O'Kane reports.
Top-level talks between the state government, the AFL and the MCC are taking place in the next few weeks. The aim to fill the G, starting with the Melbourne Western Bulldogs grand final rematch, when Demons fans will get the chance to see the unfurling of the flag. They're talking of a crowd around 80,000, even a bigger one for the Carlton-Richmond clash the next day. The only stumbling block to a bumper weekend of football is the government on health advice pulling the trigger and capping the crowds. But if all goes to plan, 300,000 footy star fans will welcome in the 2022 season. But of course, in the midst of all of this, there's still that question of WA's ongoing border ban and the impact that will have on the Eagles and the Dockers.
Well, the fate of the future of Australian cricket coach Justin Langer is expected to be revealed after the Cricket Australia board meets today. Meantime, Chris Silverwood has been sacked as England's coach following their 4-0 Ashes humiliation. And 2 athletes have been chosen as Australia's flag bearers for tonight's opening ceremony at the Winter Olympics. Figure skater Brendan Kerry and aerial skier Laura Peel will share the duties. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for service? Receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
Roads flowing well for the drive-in today, which is good news. Simply roadworks to look out for. Down to 40 k's at Hackham, Main South Road near River Road. Trinity Gardens does get slow going throughout the morning for the intersection upgrade work at Port Roche and McGill Roads. And there's works today at Myrtle Bank for the intersection upgrade there of Cross, Glen Osmond and Port Roche Roads. Cameras, Grave Street, Newton, Lyons Road, Holden Hill. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss return as Neo and Trinity in The Matrix Resurrections. Fast track from cinemas to your home. New to buy or rent on digital. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win a $3 million grand prize and $2 million early bird prize in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
A mostly sunny Friday, 27, mostly sunny tomorrow, 30 and 32 on Sunday. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I think one of the lessons for Australia and Australians is we're not as tough as we thought we were, but we are more resilient than we think we are.
A Fire Inside. Streaming on 9 now. Made possible by NRMA Insurance.
On the hunt for a new podcast? In Life and Crimes, the Sunday Herald Sun columnist Andrew Rule shines a light on the dark corners of Australian life. Part Louis Theroux, part Morgan Spurlock, the Rush podcast takes you on a thrilling experiential adventure into how and why we crave what we do. Or hear the untold true stories of Australia's most terrifying crimes and insights into the criminal underworld that will leave you on the edge of your seat in I Catch Killers. Listen via the 5AA player or wherever you get your podcasts.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors, gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8 o'clock. Getting a lot of feedback to our interview with Amon Wolf from Collective Mind following that massive retraction from some 9 media entities, including 2 video interviews and 13 publications. A lot of people asking a lot of questions, making a lot of very strong points, and we'll get to the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line in just a moment. But first, we're heading to Canberra. Phil Curry from the Fin Review joins us. Morning, Phil.
Morning, fellas.
Phil, we haven't caught up since that Mosh Pit National Press Club appearance by the PM on Tuesday. What did you think of some of the questioning? Because We've had a lot of feedback about it. Clearly, some people thought that the Prime Minister didn't perform well, but equally, there was a high degree of criticism towards the media as well about some of the gotcha questions, and particularly too, we got a great text yesterday from someone saying, I want the Prime Minister to manage the economy, keep us safe from terrorism, be across issues like national security and so forth, rather than spend his time memorising the price of household items.
Yeah, no, it was a common complaint, Dave. My question was excellent. But,
well, mate, your question was excellent, because your question was a policy question.
Look, I did find myself squirming a little bit at some of them, and you could sort of almost feel the reaction of people watching, why are you doing this? Look, it's a big, important speech, that press club speech. That's the one they give at the start of every year, and they sort of try and define the year ahead and, what their focus is going to be and how they see things going and so forth. And the PM obviously spent a lot of time defending or explaining what had gone wrong in COVID as well. I mean, people are entitled to sort of pin him on things he's got wrong. It's not like meant to be a PR exercise. But I do agree at the same time there's a lot of blowback on some of those questions. Will you apologise for this, that and the other? Some of which he actually already had apologised for. One of them was, will you say sorry for underfunding the NDIS? Well, they just put 13 billion more into it to try and prop it up. So, but the price of bread one, look, I thought it was a lapse that he didn't know, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a real.
You should see the freight train coming on that one, shouldn't you?
Yeah, well, he'd be dark at himself for not knowing that. That's falling for such an old rookie gotcha question. But no, look, I agree, Dave. I think there was a fair old public backlash against some of that. I know the Prime Minister's office actually feel he probably benefited from that politically. There's a bit of sympathy for it. Look, I don't want to be critical of colleagues or anything, but I just think so many people have allowed themselves to become consumed by Twitter, and these things are all live on TV. So look at me stand up and belt the Prime Minister, and you get this instant sort of back on Twitter how brilliant you are. And I've seen it sort of slowly take over journalism, especially so much what we do now is televised live, like press conferences and things like that. And, I'm a bit old school. I still go to a press conference to actually ask a question, try and get a bit of information so I can,
There's a quaint and old-fashioned idea.
We'll either get a story or into a story I'm already working on. And often you find you go and ask some policy question, and then one of your mates in the office says, "Hey, mate, they're ripping you to bits on Twitter because you didn't abuse the Prime Minister."
Yeah.
I don't look at Twitter. I dropped it over a year ago. But
Twitter should be there for writing, things after you've had one glass of red too many about the quality of AFL umpiring on a Friday night.
That's about it. Yeah, but look, so I think there is an element of that, sort of this instant social media, look at me sort of stuff that goes on in journalism now. But at the same time, we can't be too, critical. I mean, the PM does have to be accountable for things he has got wrong and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
A bit of a balance. But I agree. But I thought the one about the text message was just, I just left that alone because it was so nebulous. We didn't know who the minister was, whether it was state or federal. We didn't know when it was, and there was a complete pile on. And I said to my editor, "Look, I'm not touching it because I haven't seen it, and until I know more about it, it's really, because it's a big difference. If it was 2 years ago, this is the text message between Gladys Berejiklian and a minister that called the Prime Minister a psycho and so forth. I said if it was 2 years ago, which we now know it was, but that wasn't said at the time, between the Premier of New South Wales and one of her state ministers, well, that's not a story because they were yelling at. We all knew there was a lot of tension at the time over the bushfires. But if it happened today, if it was a contemporary exchange involving a federal minister, well, that's a much more serious sort of, issue, if you like. And but the journo read the question just sort of withheld all those sort of details, so we don't really know.
Yeah.
But again, it was just another.
Well, it's totally different from like if you cast your mind back when that bloke who had disabilities in Melbourne who had a ham radio, when he intercepted that hilariously
Kennett
Peacock conversation about John Howard, where they were calling him a what.
Yeah.
That was live in real time, and they were identified.
Oh, that's right. I mean, a story is a story, but I mean, we just don't know. We just don't know. There wasn't enough detail actually to know whether it was it happened last week or it happened 3 years ago, and those things are sort of important. You know, context does matter. So again, I think that really sort of angered a lot of people. What's the actual point of this, and so forth. And there's been I think that speech generated more debate about the question and answer session about what the Prime Minister actually said, which, by the way, he said, we're going to get unemployment under 4% the second half of the year, and hardly got noticed.
Yeah,
but anyway, that's just the way this place is rolling.
Lowest ever unemployment, not a story. Phil, the Prime Minister's comments about the West Australian border closure, he seems to have endorsed the policy. Is that just sort of cynical pre-election politicking, do you think, or does he believe it?
But look, whenever you're talking on radio in Perth, you're walking on eggshells, right? You say one thing, against Lord McGowan or Helen Fury comes down. So what he was, if you actually read the transcript, he was saying, yes, I understand, I support his decision to delay the reopening because Omicron has changed all the rules and they need to reassess things. But then there was a big but. There's a couple of big buts. Right. It says we've given you this is my paraphrasing. We've given you a ton of GST money in the West. Fix your hospital system up so you can open. Because remember last year the stories that Perth's hospital system was so underfunded that they couldn't even cope with 30 cases of COVID. Would have collapsed their entire health system. So here's McGowan spouting on about his budget surplus, which is courtesy of a GST sweetheart deal and digging up minerals. And he's got the worst hospital system in the country. So the PM was sort of, because the polls in WA are still saying 70% support his delay. And it's just politics. They've got 3 seats over there they might lose. You can't attack this guy. So he's basically saying, I understand why you did it, I back it, but hurry up and fix up your hospital so you can open. And while you're at it, drop this silly 14-day close contact quarantine period you still have. Everyone else has moved to 7 days because otherwise you're not going to have any nurses, truck drivers and any other essential services when you do reopen. So it was there's a few gentle nudges in there, but it was very diplomatic. But yeah, the fact, Barnaby Joyce criticised McGowan last week. He was a bit more blunt. He said, I understand, you had to do this because you didn't fix up the hospitals, and it was a sort of a more diplomatic version of that. But
right.
As you can see, it's starting to build a bit over there against McGowan. I had a story last week about the Eagles and the Dockers will probably have to get forced into a hub in the East Coast.
Yeah.
The border's open. We've got big businessmen leaving West Australia and relocating to Melbourne. So there's enough of a backlash in WA now. McGowan's always going to remain sort of Lord and Prince over there, but there's enough of a backlash now that's giving the federal government hope that some of those seats they're going to lose, a few thousand people might come back to them in each of those seats, and that'll be enough to hold them. And that's the sort of delicate dance the PM's trying to do at the moment.
If they lose any, they'll be cactus. Phil Curry from exactly. Good on you, Phil. Phil Curry, the national political editor for the Australian Financial Review. Thanks for that, mate.
14 minutes to 8. We'll get to some of your texts on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line in just a moment. First, traffic. A new and independent home for BMW now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
Thanks, Will. Should have a pretty good run in today. No real hassle. Simply some roadworks to look out for, which is good news. Myrtle Bank speeds reduced around the intersection works for Cross, Glen Osmond and Portrush Roads. We're down to 40 k's at Hackham, Main South Road near River Road, and Trinity Gardens can get slow going throughout the morning. That's for those intersection works at Portrush and McGill Roads. A few cameras about Grave Street, Newton and Haydown Road at Elizabeth Grove. Need some space? Right now at 40 Winks, get any size mattress for the price of a single, plus earn double Qantas points. Limited time only. T's and C's apply. 40 Winks, serious about sleep. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Careers. Don't send it, ace it.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is back and doubled the fun with 2 Scott Salisbury homes in Somerton Park to be won. Just moments from the beach. Both homes are fully furnished, absolutely stunning, and ready for you to live your dream mortgage-free. With a catalogue of more than 15,000 prizes to win, tickets won't last long. Get yours today and join the fight at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14133.
Oh, here we go. Tomorrow it's Super Saturday at your local cheapest chips, and you know what that means? Loads of awesome goodies.
Means I won't sleep tonight.
Oh,
that's what it means.
Mate, it's like Christmas Eve, isn't it?
You want to be outdoors in the garden as much as you can. Well, Cheapest Chips will make you happy with 20% off all their garden solar range. That means solar flame torches, $20. Stainless steel stake lights in a variety of colours, $24. Path lights, just $12. And solar snake repellers, $12 each.
As I always say, I've had it up to here with these snakes in the backyard. Need to burn off some of those Christmas kilos. Get yourself one of these, a magnetic elliptical cross trainer and something called a spin bike, just $199 each, plus 4-piece outdoor settings if you're more into the sitting around thing, $499, and Bluetooth sound bars, $39. What about that?
Yeah, that's good value for a sound bar. There's plenty more Super Saturday deals. Just check out the back page of this week's Cheapest Chips catalogue or check them out at your local Cheapest Chips tomorrow.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
10 to 8, we've got a clue coming up for you in about 60 seconds' time. John Blake shortly to wrap the week in song. But first, let's do some texts on the Telstra Storm Our Barker text line.
There are a lot of texts along these lines. I would like to see 5AA Sports Show ban Caro for the 2022 season. That's from Alan. Sue in Christie's Beach says the same thing. Ben from the Bay advocates a different approach. He says, I'm looking forward to Rowie having Caroline Wilson on the sports show tonight to explain how wrong she got the Crows Camp story. Hell of a lot of feeling about the manner in which that story was covered. I got to say, Caroline Wilson has been one of the best football journalists in Australia for a very long time.
Without a doubt.
And she has broken some of the biggest stories in football that have been 100% true. Having said all that, in this case, I'm reminded of a lesser-known Paul Keating quote about his political style where he said, I'm in the hand grenade throwing business, but every now and then I drop one on my foot. With this yarn, Caro dropped one on her foot.
Yeah, good use of that Keatingism. All right, it's time for Guess Hoolaroo. Clue number 3. We're getting out of the winning time.
Oh, yes.
Last holiday to Uluru we're giving away this week, thanks to NT now. They've been great to have on board. They do such a wonderful job on these trips. It is a holiday like no other, and they're worth $4,000. I mean, this is not chump change.
No.
You're not ducking down to an Airbnb in the hills for $70 a night.
You're not staying at a Flag Inn.
Exactly.
In West Wyalong.
Exactly right.
Imagine that. What is that joint?
Now, the third clue is this.
Apologies to our West Wyalong listeners.
Yeah, and the Flag Inn.
Right.
The third clue.
They don't exist anymore.
I have featured in my own conversations with Cornsey. Speaking of Graham Corns, he's had a few mentions this morning. I have featured in my own conversations with Cornsey. 8223 0055 is the number.
You know the other person with this collective minds thing who will be reading every word of this seething with rage? Brett Burton.
Yeah.
He got sacked because of it, explicitly.
Yeah.
I wonder what his legal options are now that they've caved.
How much of it is...
Well, loss of income.
Yeah. How much, though, about the club's handling of it is made irrelevant on the basis that the allegations were false in the first place. You can mishandle a media disaster even though there was no reality to it in the first place. You can stuff up the handling of something. Because I don't think those early days after this anyone covered themselves with glory. In terms of, there was just a total vacuum. There was no, in part, some of this was given air because it wasn't shut down.
Yep. Well, they didn't know what they were shutting down.
No, that's right. But there was the Crows at that time, and this has changed significantly since John Olsen's taken over. The Crows at that time, this view of, well, You know, we're not going to lead the story. We'll respond when required. And they needed John Olsen would have come out in 3 seconds flat.
Yeah, Olsen would have.
Totally. And that's what you need as a leader of a football club.
Yeah.
Now, it might have been rubbish, but it needed someone to say that and someone to be a front man. That's why you have a president. And we wouldn't be sitting here if this happened right now. I'm 100% confident.
I think the whole approach would be different. I think the media approach would be different. I think the board approach would be different. I think the CEO approach would be different.
Yep, that's right.
But part of it, though, it's just the sort of unseemly nature of having to engage on stuff that was so patently repellent and
sure, of course,
nonsensical.
Yeah. It does have a degree. It mitigates a lot of what came after. It's a very interesting question about what happens from here. There'll be some fascinating interviews that come out. Barry Nathelstone's got a guess for Guess Who the Roo. Morning to you, Barry.
Yeah, good morning, guys. How's things?
Good, thanks, Barry.
Good, Barry.
How you go, mate?
Oh, top of the world. My wife picked his name up as soon as he gave the first quote this morning, but I reckon we're on it.
All right.
Oh, okay, that's good. We like a bit of that.
I like a bit of confidence.
Yeah.
Let's hear it, Barry.
Mark Woodford.
Mark Woodford, my tennis partner.
Mark Woodford famously lost to David Penberhty.
Well, mate, the score was 1-6 my way.
Yeah, but...
And he did 3 faults in a row.
But you got in his head, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
You got in his head.
What Steve Waugh called mental disintegration.
To this day, it's still... You ask him about it, and he kind of... There's a physical reaction.
Don't like it.
What about Penberhty?
Who?
Mark Woodford. Unfortunately, Barry, it is not Mark Woodford.
I thought you had it.
Good guess. Good guess. I like it. But unfortunately, not the right guess. We will have another clue for you coming up in the next half hour of the program. Again, 8223 0055 is the number. If you haven't played before, but you're starting to piece the clues together, have that ready to go on your phone, because when the clues read out, that is your cue to call in, all thanks to NT Now. It is time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
Well, for some time now, we've been watching Russia as Vladimir Putin seems to have designs on someone else's country. Some people just aren't happy unless they're fighting. I'm thinking it's a game, just a diplomat's game. What a glorious feeling, I'm invading again. I'm laughing out loud, and it's all because of my fondness of war. I'm ready to shove off, I'm going to chase U.S. troops from the place. Come on with the guns, I've a regime to replace. I walk down Lennon Lane with a happy refrain, 'cause I'm thinking of invading Ukraine. Yes, I'm thinking of invading Ukraine. And the other disturbing news we received this week was the revelation from David Penberhty, the resident FIVEaa connoisseur of food we can't pronounce, and sometimes neither can he.
Cock of in.
His horrifying announcement that he doesn't like a certain food. David talks about his love for food from 6 o'clock. We sit through endless hours of his recipes. Now suddenly he says he doesn't like sushi.
I hate sushi. Can't stand it.
It's just not right. How can a man not like prawns and seaweed wrapped in rice?
I hate that stodgy rice.
How can he stand up and claim that his taste buds are right?
I can't stand sushi.
And David talks. He likes chorizo and some taco sauce. He says he likes the food in New Orleans but now it seems he doesn't like sushi, babe.
I hate sushi.
And of course, Boris Johnson is still in trouble. This just won't go away, and some are saying that it won't go away until he goes away.
I went to a garden party while the country was locked down. I combed my hair and put a nice suit on, but I still looked like a clown. A lot of MPs were present, all drinking and having fun. But then some lowlife dobbed us in, and now it's coming all undone. I hope it's alright now. Unwind this tangled web. You see, it's one rule for all of us, another for the lowly plebs.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Breaking at 8 coming up in just a moment. And also,
I haven't mentioned food once today.
You haven't?
No.
Was that a personal pledge? What's happening?
I haven't mentioned
You're
it.
on strike.
Another hour to go, I suppose.
All right. I'll dream up a way to... I'll tease it out of you over the course of the last hour. Play along at home, folks. 5AA News coming up.
Australia's making positive energy, and there's more on the way. It's all part of our plan to reach net zero by 2050. We're rolling out rooftop solar at record levels, expanding snowy hydro, so it's the biggest battery in the Southern Hemisphere, and investing billions in projects like hydrogen hubs and seaweed for feed, which means more jobs and even less emissions, helping us reach net zero by 2050. Find out more at positiveenergy.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
The Edwardstown Mazda sale is on right now, and it's sizzling with massive savings on new, demo and used Mazdas. Plenty of stock is arriving daily, but you'd better hurry, they'll be snapped up. Edwardstown Mazda, 862 South Road, LMVD 207428.
Do you think a concert pianist needs a builder's licence? No. Does a chartered accountant need one? Nah. Okay, then what about a house inspector? This will surprise you. Right now, there are no regulations in the industry that say you must be a builder to become a house inspector. Mike Pearl from House Inspect Australia is a third-generation licensed builder, and his team is the most qualified team in Australia for house inspections. It's the biggest purchase decision of your life. Don't risk it. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
Terry White Chemmart has real deals on fragrances this Valentine's Day, like 70% off Burberry, 40% off Dolce & Gabbana and 35% off Paco Rabanne. Get real deals every day at Terry White Chemmart. Now that's real chemistry. T's and C's apply. Sale ends Feb 15.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 27 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra care, extra clean, extra safe. Book today, physioextra.com.
Collective Mind hopes the 4 years of conjecture regarding their Crows pre-season camp on the Gold Coast is now behind them. The Nine Network and 2 football journalists from The Age, including Caroline Wilson, have apologised after the organisation launched legal action. The apologies will be in print and online, while a string of articles will be retracted. Eamon Wolfe from Collective Mind says the story took on a life of its own.
The rumour mill just went insanely crazy, and everything was viable and on the table, as you know, and everyone knew the facts and everyone knew the truth and everyone knew what happened out there. And honestly, in our opinion, our experience, there's been sections of the media that have blatantly just manufactured outrage around this.
The camp was investigated and cleared by both the AFL's Integrity Unit and Safe Work SA. A house at Lightsview is looking a little worse for wear. A car went into the North Parkway property around midnight, but the 2 residents escaped injury. It hit the bedroom wall. A 20-year-old woman was behind the wheel. Yesterday, Australian maritime experts revealed the wreck of Captain Cook's Endeavour had been discovered off Rhode Island. But archaeologists in the US are now saying the announcement was premature. They say while the shipwreck is consistent with what might be expected after all this time, there hasn't been any indisputable data found to prove it is the iconic vessel. Russia is continuing its military manoeuvring as tensions simmer in Ukraine. Nine's Europe correspondent Brett McLeod has more.
A game of cat and mouse in the skies over the Atlantic near Britain as British Typhoon jets intercepted 4 Russian bombers for the second day in a row. It's the latest testing of military capacity and international resolve, as NATO warns 30,000 Russian troops, including special forces, are being deployed to Ukraine's northern border inside Belarus. Yet Ukraine's defence minister says the threat of invasion is still low, adding there is no need for panicking or packing suitcases.
More fallout for Boris Johnson over those parties at Number 10 during lockdown. 4 senior aides to the British Prime Minister have resigned within hours of each other. The PM's Chief of Staff, Head of Policy, Communications Director and a senior civil servant leaving their positions. The leader of the Islamic State group has been killed in a US raid in northwestern Syria. US President Joe Biden announcing the death. Retired Major General Jim Molan says it's a reminder that the US still has a presence in the area.
Still troops there who are supporting the Kurds, very small numbers, but it gives you the base from which to mount an attack like this. And this is very important for us. A base like this is critical, and we don't have such a base in Afghanistan, which is a real problem for us.
The Duchess of Cambridge has joined Prince Charles and Camilla visiting a training site for arts and culture in London. It's the trio's first royal engagement together in 10 years. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide. Departs February 25th. Book at ntnow.com.au.
What's happening with Charlie Dixon, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, he's had surgery and is recovering now, and he's in a race against time to be fit for round 1. That's after having that surgery to repair his ankle injury. Let's go to the Winter Olympics, and figure skater Brendan Kerry and aerial skier Laura Peel have been chosen as Australia's flag bearers for tonight's opening ceremony. Kerry says he can't wipe the smile off his face.
It's absolutely amazing. I'm so excited, and the fact that I get to share this experience with such an amazing athlete, an amazing team, I'm incredibly thankful.
Now, Australian mogul skiers Jakara Anthony and Britt Cox have both qualified straight to the semi-finals. Brodie Summers was the best of the Aussies in the men's qualifying, coming 11th. Our first Olympic curling team has gone down 8-2 to the Czech Republic. The Aussies looking to claim their first win in the sport when they face Sweden today. A 4-wicket haul from 18-year-old Darcy Brown has helped Australia retain the women's Ashes with a 27-run win over England in the first one-dayer. To golf, Aussies Cameron Smith and Lucas Herbert have made a solid start at the Saudi International event, finishing their opening rounds at 4 under, putting them 4 shots behind Italian leader Matteo Manassero. Meantime, the PGA event at Pebble Beach is underway, and Aussies Jason Day is off to a solid start and is currently 2 under through 14 holes, putting him only 4 shots off the lead. To soccer, Adelaide United could jump to top spot on the A-League table with a win at home tonight against Sydney FC. Meantime, Newcastle's recorded a 2-1 win against Brisbane last night. And Formula One and several leading teams are still in a standoff that could remove sprint race qualifying from the schedule this year. Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari all want an increase on the budget cap. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
Hey, Chandler Pine's got a 2-car smash North East Road at Tippett Road. Myrtle Bank speeds reduced for works around the intersection of Cross, Glen Osmond and Portrush Roads. Hackham down to 40 there, Main South Road near River Road, and Trinity Gardens slow going around the intersection of Portrush and McGill Road for those works. Cameras Anderson Walk, Smithfield and Lyons Road at Holden Hill. Lunch sorted at OTR. Their delicious $5 and $6 sandwiches are ready for you, and they're just $3 every Wednesday. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
There's double the fun with 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Mostly sunny today, 27, mostly sunny tomorrow, 30 and 32 on Sunday. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 8, Breaking 8 is coming up in just a moment. Behind closed doors still to come this hour in the program. And good news if you're joining us for the very first time on what is the last day of Guess Hoolaroo. It hasn't gone off. We've got another clue coming up for you very shortly. And what is your last chance to win this magnificent trip to Uluru on a private plane is still alive. So have it plugged into your phone, 822 30055. The clues are pointing... They're all quite pointed, but it's been a totally different approach to what we've had earlier in the week, where we've started large with a vocation and slowly worked and narrowed it down. This has started in a far more narrow field. Pays to have listened throughout the morning, and those that have been on board will have an advantage. 822 30055. We'll get to your latest guess and the next clue in about the next 10 minutes' time. If it doesn't go off, then it has to go off after 8:30 today. All right, it is time for Breaking at 8.
Well, we got two Breaking at 8s for you this morning. Just to recap, we did the first one at 6:40 a.m. I jumped the gun. Our mail is that the Victoria Park Racecourse is very much in the frame, as per the half-joking text from you, our listeners, yesterday, to be used as the venue for voting on Election Day. It's our understanding that SA Health has thrown up the idea that the estimated 20,000 people who are going to be in isolation on account of contracting the coronavirus may end up doing a drive-through vote, drive-through democracy. Raises the prospect, Will, that the Premier and the opposition leader, they might get text messages later that day saying, your results have come back. They were negative.
Oh, don't give... That's another headline.
What about that? I don't think that's part of it, but in all seriousness, the race course is emerging.
Good. I like it as an idea.
Yeah, be a world first. Now, look, the other one, this is a shocking story. It's a big story, and I think that SA Health have to really have another look at this, because it's turning into a full-blown crisis for boarding schools across South Australia. And you can drop all the class war nonsense, folks. We're talking here about country families, parents who live in remote parts of South Australia, who in many cases have no choice but to cough up serious dough so that their children can get an education at boarding schools here in the city. Now, there was a meeting last week where Professor Spurrier told private schools that boarding houses are to be treated as households for contact tracing purposes. So that means that if you are a student in a boarding house with 20, 25, 30 other kids, if one of those kids comes down with COVID, the entire boarding school is treated as a close contact. Now, this is happening right now. It's happening across the country. There's been huge issues at boarding houses across the land, so the problem is not unique to South Australia. But I understand that the headmasters of some of the state's biggest private schools have directly contacted the Premier, and they've also contacted the Education Minister and the Health Minister, but nothing has changed yet. I know of one school where currently they've said to all the Year 9s, 10s and 11s, stay at home in the country. Don't come to town yet. We need to minimise the risk of people being infected and declared close contacts, because, you know, we don't want the entire boarding school being closed. I also know of one other school where in the last, well, potentially 12 hours, in the last day, definitely in the last day, there were two kids whose parents drove a vast distance from the country to drop their kids off for the start of the academic year. Since then, there's been a corona case within the boarding house. So now those same parents have driven back 2 days later to pick their kids up and take them back to the farm. Now, you know, we hear the constant refrain about how hard it is on everybody. Well, it's acutely hard on these people. We did a lot of work last year about the absurd case of the Year 7 girl at Loretto. The health impact on these kids goes beyond the physical. It goes into the mental area. And I ask again, as a parent myself, what the hell are we doing to the educational opportunities of this generation of young people. It is a bloody disgrace. So SA Health, don't give these pat answers to the schools and say, oh, well, this is just the way it is. It needs more thought, more effort, and to the politicians who haven't done anything yet to respond to the very genuine requests from these educators, these very senior educators for action, the politicians need to get off their backsides and remember that they get voted in to make decisions. No decisions have been made on this. It's a bloody disgrace.
There's something grotesque about all these sacrifices that kids have been forced to make on behalf of adults, isn't it?
Oh, they need their own ACTU. They need their own ACCI. There's no peak body representing people under the age of 15. Yeah. Hasn't that been writ large repeatedly over the course of the last 2 years?
Absolutely. All right, let's get to some of the stories of the morning, starting with, look, I tell you what, if the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line or our social media accounts are any indication of what the biggest story in Adelaide is at any given moment, right now it is the extraordinary statement put out by both Collective Mind and Nine Media regarding a settlement that was reached between those two entities. I read from some of it. The Nine Network, Age newspaper, and journalists Caroline Wilson and Sam McClure have apologised, issued retractions, and agreed to pay all legal costs to high-performance mindset training specialist Collective Mind and its directors, Eamon Wolf and Derek Leddy, after a series of articles and interviews were broadcast and published by the media outlets about the 2018 Adelaide Crows pre-season camp. Nine will retract 13 publications and 2 videos, including interviews published between 2018 and 2021.
Climb downs do not get any bigger than that.
Yes. And earlier in the program, we spoke with Collective Mind director Eamon Wolf.
It's a gift they kept on giving, wasn't it? The rumour mill just went insanely crazy. Everything was viable and on the table, as you know, and everyone knew the facts and everyone knew the truth and everyone knew what happened out there. And you know, as we've said in the press release, honestly, in our opinion, our experience, there's been sections of the media that have blatantly just manufactured outrage around this. And there's no findings, there's nothing to see. And Nine and the Age have acknowledged that. And finally, at last, the record's going to get set straight.
We'll make some time for more of your texts on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line shortly, because they are flooding in.
And it is a total Caroline Wilson, Sam McClure smash up.
Yeah, a lot of people have pointed out that some awards were won for reporting on this. So it's also a tough look for the journalism awards.
Most media awards are a reward for not having any readers or listeners.
Winter Olympics opening ceremony is on tonight. This something's it's not yet a tradition, but it's becoming a pattern of behaviour for the Australian Olympic committees. We've got tonight dual flag bearers, aerial skier Laura Peel and figure skater Brendan Carey named flag bearers. They're both contesting their third Olympic Games, which is quite a feat. It's the first time we've had dual flag bearers at the Winter Olympics, but had them in Tokyo with Paddy Mills and swimmer Kate Campbell sharing the responsibility then. Here is our flag bearers for tonight speaking with Channel 7.
For both of you, where this particular honour ranks on your list of achievements?
Solid to say it's in first place right now. Very, very special, very, very exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely very close to the top of the list. Such an honour, such a privilege, and we have such an amazing team, so really proud to be a part of that.
It is a great achievement. Well done to them.
Yes.
Now,
but the curling.
Yeah, well, okay, hang on. Hold your horses on that.
They've got us by the...
Another curling update on 5AA Breakfast, your home of curling.
We are the home of curling. And
can you play that again?
Yeah, I'll play it in our curling segment. And we wish we could talk about it. And I imagine when that was recorded, we were a little bit more optimistic about the chances of our curling team. Tali and Dean, who we love. Since we spoke to Kim Forge the first time, who is the mother of curling in this country.
She is.
Brought it over from Canada.
Yep.
There is no way to practice. Could be part of our issue at the moment at the Olympic Games. They're ranked better than their performance, shall we say, to put it kindly. Of course, they lost to the dastardly Americans in the first game.
They make you sick.
What they've done to curling is just...
it's two sides out there and only one of them was playing curling.
It's an abomination. So we lost to the host nation China yesterday 5-6. Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking.
I mean, was there some hometown decisions?
Probably.
You be the judge? I mean, not for me to say.
That ref.
Not for me to say.
On the take.
But,
brown bags of yuan out the back, I reckon.
The ice favoured the home side, shall we say.
Oh, yeah, it was a flat top.
Then later in the day, clearly clearly been put off by, heartbreaking losses to the dastardly Americans and, the Chinese, who may or may not have been playing by the rules.
They doctored the ice.
They did. I mean, I saw some things happening out there. Oh, look, maybe it was luck.
What?
Maybe not. Looking forward to the documentary. But then later in the day, the Czech Republic, 8-2 over Tarley and Dean. So it's over 3.
The Czechs had us by the short and curlings from
look,
the get-go.
And look, you doff your cap to the Czechs.
Yeah.
They can curl.
They can curl like no one else.
But it makes me sick to the pit of my stomach that we lost to those Americans and,
and the old trade war people.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah. One day they're banning Australian live export. The next,
lobsters,
curling,
Shiraz.
Where does it end? In fact, the WTO should have the WTO should have stepped in before the final end and said, "Enough, China.
Yeah,
you're bullying now.
Yeah.
Give them Tarley and Dean."
Exactly. We are stuffed, aren't we?
I think stuffed is the official word.
Another curling update on 5AA Breakfast, your home of curling.
We wanted to be more uplifting than that, with fewer references to international trade disputes, but unfortunately, it just hasn't happened. Sometimes you know what? That's curling, as they say.
That is curling. That's the way
people just say that's curling.
That's the way the cookie.
And people understand.
Curls. Great text from Christina, re-breaking at 8. Not only are we stuffing up our kids' education, they're also the ones who'll have to work to pay off the huge debt. Correct.
All right. So do you want to guess Hoolaroo clue now or in a moment?
Why not do it now?
All right, we'll do it right now then. I've got to find it.
Let's do it.
All right, it's time for Hoolaroo, and it's time perhaps to give away the final $4,000 holiday to Hoolaroo, thanks to the excellent people at NT Now who know how to put together a holiday. The fourth clue. I'm now retired. However, my profession required me to handle great speeds and G-force. Oh, that's interesting.
A mate of mine sent me a text. And he's right, I think.
It fits?
Yep.
8223 0055 is the number. What we'll do is we'll check traffic. First caller through right now, though, we'll get a crack and just have a couple of moments to let the clues marinate. And hopefully they coalesce into a correct answer.
Beautifully
Can you marinate and coalesce? You're the chef.
Not talking about food this morning.
Oh, I tried. That was my first little attempt. All right, let's
Chorizo.
There we go. Let's check traffic. A new and independent home for BMW now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
Thanks, Will. Chena Pines got a two-car smash Northeast Road at Tippett Road, causing a few delays around that intersection. Motorbank speeds reduced for works around the intersection of Cross, Glen Osmond Road and Portrush Road, just out the bottom of the freeway. Speeds at 40 at Ovingham, Torrens Road and Churchill Road. And cameras this morning, Grand Junction Road, Hope Valley, Hanson Road, Elizabeth Downs and Kersbrook Road at Humbug Scrub. Anaconda's big brand sale is on this weekend. 50% off all tents by Austrail, Spinifex, Denali and more. Anaconda's big brand sale and Sunday. Play more, pay less. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
21 minutes after 8. Julie in Hyde Park is the first caller through following clue number 4 for Guess Hoolaroo. Julie, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Have you been trying all week, Julie, or is this your first time?
First time.
There's thousands of people right now that have punched the radio, I suspect, but that's okay.
I know, and I'm so nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous.
Right, Julie,
you'll be right. How many clues did you hear?
2. Oh, no, 3.
Okay.
3. I'm in the car. I just pulled over quickly.
Oh, well played.
Oh, quick! I better ring.
So, what did you have? Has your guess changed over the course of the clues you've heard?
I had no clue until the last one, where it came to me. I'm probably wrong, but a name came to my head instantly. So.
Okay. Who do you think it is, Julie?
Andy Thomas.
Andy, astronaut.
Good guess.
Thomas.
Good guess, I reckon.
Yes! You've won the trip of a lifetime to Uluru, valued at $4,000 thanks to NT Now. Congrats to you.
Oh, my God, thank you so much.
It was worth pulling over.
It was definitely worth pulling over.
Good on you, Julie.
That's great, Julie.
And big thanks to NT Now. This has been a lot of fun, this competition. We've really enjoyed doing it. And looking forward to hearing the stories from Julie and other listeners that will go on February 25. And look, if you've heard it all week and you've heard people talk about it and you doubtless will hear people talk about how good it is, remember, you can book it now. Just go to ntnow.com.au. They've been a wonderful partner in this competition all week, so hopefully we can work with them again. Uluru Weekender by private jet, direct from Adelaide, including accommodation and touring.
Roey's Sports Show.
Simon Hill. Can I start with the Socceroos? Just stinky for me.
Yeah, look, it's certainly disappointing.
Yeah, well, I think Goofy's got to go. I don't want to go into a World Cup with him. We just don't look like we play as a team. We're a team of individuals.
Did we call him Goofy?
Goofy, yeah, you know Goofy.
4 p.m. weekdays.
Okay, if you want to get rid of Graham Arnold, you want to get rid of Tony Gustafsson, who do you bring in?
You? Anyone but them.
Roey's Sports Show on 5AA.
Be part of one of the most important events in SA this year and get paid for it. The state election is March 19th this year, and the Electoral Commission of South Australia need over 7,000 South Australians to help deliver democracy on polling day. So if you could do with some extra cash and want to be part of one of the most important events in South Australia, head to ecsa.sa.gov.au and register to work at the state election.
Do you want to be part of important medical research that could help save lives? You can help out and get reimbursed while at it. CMAX are seeking healthy males aged 18 to 55 to trial a potential new antibiotic for serious and life-threatening bacterial infections. CM1620 requires you to stay 2 nights and attend 1 visit. All eligible volunteers are paid for their time. Sign up at cmax.com.au. That's cmax.com.au.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is back, and with double the fun this time round because there's 2 stunning Scott Salisbury homes to be won just moments from the beach in beautiful Somerton Park.
Now, the $3 million grand prize is an Art Deco-inspired home with a serene, modern swimming pool for a peaceful afternoon float.
Plus, if you snap up your tickets early, you're also in the running for the $2 million home next door. Grill up a storm in the ultimate outdoor entertaining alfresco.
Both homes come fully furnished, ready for you to live mortgage-free. Safe to say you could kick your feet up for a while.
Best of all, when you purchase a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you join the fight for world-leading research, improved treatment and vital healthcare services in our community. You can view all the incredible prizes and grab your tickets today at homelottery.com.au.
Christian Canute from Rusden Wines speaks with cricketing legend Dennis Lilly.
Dennis, you've visited a few cellar doors over the years. What is it that you look for?
You know, I love the old school setups where there's friendly, warm people there. They all know a little, good information on the wines they're serving you, and just sort of nice, relaxed, homely atmosphere. Rusden seems to give you that.
Rusden Wines, home of the Black Gut Shiraz. rusdenwines.com.au.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
25 minutes after 8, major event on 60 Minutes on Sunday night at 8:40 p.m. after Married at First Sight. My Name is Cleo. Interview with Cleo Smith's parents on Channel 9 and 9 Now Any. 9 Now, should I say. I remember covering this story in depth when this was breaking, and I got to say, and I think you felt the same way, and so did our listeners, at no point did we think this was going to have a happy ending. Beyond the first 24 hours.
I went out to get a coffee and I came back in and you looked at me and you said, mate, the founder. And I went, what?
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. Here's a little bit of what's ahead on Sunday night on 60 Minutes.
Ellie, I know your first reaction when you saw that Cleo was not in the tent was Cleo's gone. But when did the moment hit you that Cleo was gone, that she wasn't just outside the tent, that she wasn't in the sand dunes, that she was gone?
I felt like my heart it told me, like, she's not here, she's not going to run into my arms today. She's not going to run down a sand dune. She was basically nowhere near me. And that was the second I realised that someone had her, and both my head and my heart connected to that. Someone has her and someone had my baby.
Tara Brown, senior reporter for 60 Minutes. Tara, I think the one question a lot of people will want answered is, how is Cleo doing now? Has this become a distant and weird memory for her? Is she just back to being a happy little girl?
She is back to being a happy little girl, but it's a lot more complicated than that, according to her mum Ellie and dad Jake. She has moments of sadness and anger, but I think for somebody of her age, it's really interspersed with confusion. Not really sure of what happened and why it happened. So it's certainly a part of her life and a part of her parents' life that they're dealing with, learning how to deal with. But at the same time, Cleo is still a very vibrant, cheeky, open, happy little girl.
You only spoke to the parents for the televised part of the interview, didn't you? You didn't speak to her as well?
No, I didn't speak to Cleo.
Mm.
I did speak to the parents, yes.
How are they going?
Look, they're in a similar way. They have their ups and downs. I mean, I don't know that there are words to express their gratitude in having Cleo home, their happiness around that. But, I think that they're learning to live life again, in a way, in the aftermath of what happened. And because it is such a unique experience, that they're trying to learn how to help Cleo and how to help themselves heal, they say. But they're full of gratitude and they're also full of happiness. So it's a mixed bag.
Did you get a sense, Tara, what a day in their life was like during the period where Cleo's was unaccounted for?
I do get a sense of it. I don't know that any of us could really know how dark that place was. I mean, they had all the fears that your imagination can pull up. They knew their daughter wasn't where they'd been camping. They thought that she had been abducted. Neither of those options offer any relief, that she's wandered off or she's with a stranger. They were told they couldn't search, so they didn't have a physical outlet for their grief and their fears. They were completely frustrated because there were no leads, and they were also copying a huge amount of hate through social media. So there was a lot that they were dealing with, and but they were sustained, they tell me, by this absolute belief, never giving up hope, that Cleo would be returned to them. And I don't know that many other people believe that, but they certainly did, and thankfully their prayers were answered.
Mm. Amazing story. Tara Brown from 60 Minutes will be airing on the 9 network this Sunday night. Thanks for joining us.
8:40 after Married at First Sight on Channel 9 and 9 Now.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 27 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
A scare for residents at Lightsview. Senior Constable Dave Muir says a car slammed into their bedroom wall on North Parkway around midnight.
Thankfully, the two occupants of the home were actually in the room that the car crashed into at the time, were not injured. So MFS and SES crews secured that structure while the car was towed from the scene, and police investigations into the circumstances that led to that crash are ongoing.
The driver, a 20-year-old woman, was not physically injured but was taken to hospital as a precaution. A woman from Interstate has been involved in a police chase. The brief pursuit in the CBD last night started after she was reported for driving erratically but was called off due to safety concerns. Patrols then tracked the vehicle by air and blew a tyre at Modbury after spikes were used. A 31-year-old from Queensland has been charged with numerous offences. She was allegedly carrying a taser and methamphetamine. The state government will invest $30 million to hire an additional 51 full-time paramedics. They'll be on the road within 12 months. Health Minister Stephen Wade says it follows advice from the ambulance service that the agency needed a boost in resources.
This is a funded government announcement, so it's not an election promise. It's not dependent on the re-election of the Marshall Liberal government. It's part of the Marshall Liberal government's ongoing investment in paramedics. This investment brings to 125 the number of paramedic FTEs that the government has invested in the last 2 years.
Two media companies and two journalists have apologised over their coverage of the Adelaide Crows' notorious 2018 pre-season camp. Michaela Kamarik has more.
The Nine Network, The Age newspaper and journalists Caroline Wilson and Sam McClure have apologised, issued retractions and agreed to pay all legal costs to high-performance training specialist Collective Mind. It comes after a series of articles and interviews were broadcast by the media outlets about the 2018 Adelaide Crows training camp. After lengthy legal proceedings, all parties have acknowledged that the camp was run in good faith and with the players' interests front of mind. Nine will now retract 13 publications, including 2 video interviews published between 2018 and 2021. A Safe Work SA investigation last year found the camp did not breach work health and safety laws.
Qantas is slashing the number of frequent flyer points needed to book hotels and holidays in a bid to get people back on planes. Airline boss Alan Joyce says it's a good incentive for passengers to use up the points they've built up during the pandemic.
You can get your flights with frequent flyer points, your hotels or package, and it's permanently now 30 to 45% lower than it was.
Novak Djokovic has spoken in public for the first time since he was deported from Australia. The world number one was barred from competing in this year's Australian Open when his visa was cancelled last month. He's met with Serbia's president to thank him for his support. The tennis star is also promising to tell his side of the story in the next couple of weeks. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Uluru Weekender by private jet direct from Adelaide. Departs February 25th. Book at ntnow.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide forward Charlie Dixon has had surgery on his injured ankle interstate and is now recovering. The club hopeful he will still be okay to start the season. Meantime, Richmond veteran Jack Revolt is sending an ominous warning to the rest of the competition. The Tigers missed finals for the first time since 2016 last year. The triple premiership winning forward says the side is hoping they can learn from their mistakes this season.
You learn from past experience, and obviously 2018 we were flag favourites and were bundled out in the prelim final, and I remember Kane Lambert speaking about the year of redemption.
Australian captain Pat Cummins is refusing to back Justin Langer to remain as coach of the men's team. A decision on Langer's future expected later today. Meantime, Australia's women have claimed the Ashes series after recording a 27-run win against England in Canberra. At the Winter Olympics in Beijing, Jakara Anthony has booked her place in the final of the women's freestyle mogul skiing after topping her heat. To football, China has beaten Japan on penalties to move into the final of the Women's Asian Cup. South Korea has beaten the Philippines 2-0 in the other semi-final. Meantime, on the men's side, Mo Salah's Egypt have moved into the final of the Africa Cup of Nations after a tense penalty shootout win against Cameroon. Briefly elsewhere, a lay day has been called at the Pipeline Surf Pro in Hawaii. And Racing Victoria says scans on champion jockey Damien Oliver's neck have cleared him of any fracture after a barrier incident in Warrnambool. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for service? Receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
At Morrow's Park, got a breakdown on South Road just after Dawes Road, that's inbound. Chater Pines got a 2-car smash, North East Road at Tippett Road, and Myrtle Bank. Speeds are reduced for works around the intersection of Cross, Glen Osmond and Portrush Road, just down the bottom of the freeway. Cameras North East Road, St Agnes, and Walkerville Terrace at Walkerville. Try Sportsbet's new Bet with Mates this NBA season. Start your group today, place a multi together and share the moment. It's the easiest way to group bet. Conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win a $3 million grand prize and $2 million early bird prize in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Heading for a top of 27 for your Friday and mostly sunny. Tomorrow mostly sunny 30. Sunday partly cloudy 32. Right now it is 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
With continued cases of COVID-19 across South Australia, now's the time to book your booster. Boosters increase your protection against all COVID-19 variants, including Omicron, and they're available 3 months from your second dose. Plus, there are now more clinics and more appointments to choose from. Book your booster at your local GP, pharmacy or SA Health clinic. Book your booster now at covidvaccine.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Well, now we're joined by another happy Arbor Vitae customer. We all know by now that Arbor Vitae Joint Health contains potent, natural anti-inflammatory and antioxidant ingredients, which may provide a whole bunch of benefits. Gary, when did you start taking Arbor Vitae and what for?
3 years ago, I started taking it for mild osteoarthritis. I had some pain in my knee. I'd heard about a product on the local radio station. I took it for 2 weeks and my pain simply went away.
Am I right in saying you were told you may need a knee replacement?
I just turned 50 and they were talking about a knee replacement. I thought, well, I may as well go and do it. And only that I heard about this product, the fear of a scalpel led me towards it. And I thought, well, what the hell, I'll give it a go, and the rest is history. It's brilliant.
So, Gary, you're a forklift driver. Your job, no doubt, would have a high level of labour involved. You've noticed significant benefits for you.
Yeah, after 2 weeks, I was sceptical that it might come back, and it hasn't. So, yeah, I do a lot of off and on, up and down. I'm pain-free, so hopefully it stays that way and forever.
So your message for everyone then, if they have any joint pain?
Take my word for it. Just take it. The worst that you can do is not like it or it doesn't work. That's the worst that can happen. Other than that, just give it a go.
Gary, thank you so much for that. If you'd like more information or you want to order, you can visit arborvitae.com.au or call 1300 879 863. Always follow the directions for use. This medicine may not be right for you. Read the label before purchase, and if symptoms persist, talk to your health professional.
IGA's Shop Scratch Win is back. 1 in 5 chance to win a prize with every $30 you spend. While you're there, get Darryl Lee Chocolate Block 160 to 180 gram varieties, $2.50 each, half price. And Kellogg's cereals, 285 to 460 gram varieties, $2.65 each, better than half price. Shop Scratch Win, now at IGA. While stocks last, prices at IGA stores only until Feb 8. See website for T's and C's. Permit number SAT211433.
Get ready to meet your muse with the all-new Kia Sportage medium SUV. We unleashed our imagination to give you dominating presence and commanding luxury. The Kia Sportage has a strikingly sculpted exterior and soft touch leather interior. SUVs, meet your master. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or head to your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Don't you ever let a chance go by.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors, gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
20 minutes to 9. This time yesterday was pretty overcast and nasty. It looks like a beautiful day out there at the moment, and it's going to be a beautiful couple of days warming up through the weekend, the early part of next week, albeit, as the Bureau told us earlier, some of their forecasting for the middle of next week might be different to what you're seeing written down at the moment. There might be a little bit of a sprinkle around about the place, so there's some variability there. David, I think
they should ring Sam McClure and ask him what he thinks is going to happen. He's make something up.
Oh, he's heard it's going to be. He's hearing cyclones.
Yeah, cyclones or floods or tornadoes, or it's either going to be hot or cold.
The Venn diagram of people that get excited about discoveries in space and archaeological findings is a complete circle. And so this won't surprise you, David. I was super excited yesterday when the Australian National Maritime Museum announced that a wreck they'd found in Newport Harbour off of Rhode Island in the United States was, in fact, Captain James Cook's HMAS Endeavour. Kieran Hosty is from the National Maritime Museum and joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Kieran, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will.
How did you know?
Yeah, it's been a long time. We've been working in Newport with our partners, the Rhode Island Marine Archaeology Project, for the last 21 years. I've been in Newport now. I think I've done 8 or 9 seasons working on shipwrecks in Newport. We had 8 shipwrecks to start with, and we slowly whittled them away until we had 1 left. And we've just spent the last 4 seasons working on one particular shipwreck. It was called RI-23, which is a really weird name. Anyway, it's something the state government in Rhode Island provides these archaeological numbers for each site. And yes, we're now very convinced that this wreck, RI-2342, is actually the wreck of Endeavour.
What gives it away? Beyond so there's a process of elimination clearly, but is there any sort of discernible physical features?
Yeah, I know that people think that we're going to find a ship's bell or something on
Yeah.
the bottom, or a little sign that, Cookie was here, scratched into the timber, or, something left over from Banks's dog. But the chances are we will never find stuff like that.
Right.
To put it in, we have a word that we use to describe shipwrecks like this, and it's munted. It is totally munted. It is bits of timber.
Is that a technical term?
It's a technical term. You can quote me. It's just technical. It's just bits of timber lying on the seafloor in 12, 13 metres of water. Silty. The timber's been there for over 200 years. The ship was pretty rotten when it sank, and it's even more rotten now. So, as an archaeologist, I have to look at the timbers with my partners from Rhode Island. Look at the timbers and try and figure out what we're looking at first of all, and then compare it to historical information about what we know about Endeavour.
Sorry, Kieran, taking a step back then. So it's a process of elimination once you say, well, we think it's sunk in this area, so here are all the shipwrecks in this area that are, in various stages of being munted.
Yep.
How sure are you that its final resting place is there off of Rhode Island? What was the last recorded movements of the ship?
Oh, it's interesting. The ship's got a really varied history. We all know about the bit about Australia, coming to Australia, and it's a very contested history, of course, as well. I mean, a lot of our First Nations people hate the name Endeavour and hate what the voyage resulted in. And it went on to do similar things in other countries. It went on to, it became a transport ship. It was sold out of the service, the Royal Navy service, became privately owned. The Americans wanted independence from England, so the American War of Independence started, and the British government didn't have enough ships to transport troops to North America to fight the Americans. So they hired it back. A bit of privatisation. They hired the vessel back, and they carried German mercenaries, of all things. H&B Endeavour, now called the Lord Sandwich, carried German mercenaries fighting on behalf of Britain to go to America to fight the Americans.
Wow.
And that's bad enough. That's weird enough. It then went to New York, landed the German mercenaries, sailed down to Newport in Rhode Island, and became a prison ship to house prisoners of war. If that wasn't bad enough, the British government, the French became involved in the war. A huge fleet arrived off Newport, Rhode Island. The British troops needed a barrier of ships to stop the French ships getting too close to Newport to bombard it, and they sunk a whole pile of vessels, 13 vessels eventually. They sank off the coast of Newport to stop the French coming in, and one of those vessels chosen was the Lord Sandwich.
Oh, wow.
What would you say, Kieran, to the Americans, the Rhode Island Marine Archaeology Project, who've come out and poured a bit of cold water on this and said you guys have jumped the gun?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working with Dr. Kathy Abbas and the Rhode Island Marine Archaeology Project for the last 21 years, and we've been assessing those sites for a long time. And actually the site that we now believe is Endeavour, or we now know is Endeavour, we've spent 4 years working on that site. So it's hardly a rushed process. It's taken a long time. And in fact, many of your listeners were probably thinking, why has it taken so long to actually come up with the name of the ship? So I don't think by saying it's taken us 4 years studying one wreck to say that we've jumped the gun. We've eliminated 7 others by using historical information and archaeological information. So we are very confident that this site now is Endeavour.
I suppose, too, if you cast your mind back to 1983, it's not the first time that Australia and the US have had a dispute involving boats off Rhode Island.
Very true. Very true. I haven't found a winged keel. There is no winged keel.
or a green and gold flag with a boxing kangaroo on it, yeah.
Oh, yes. Very true.
Well, congratulations on your find, Kieran. Just absolutely fascinating, and appreciate you explaining it all to us on 5AA Breakfast this morning.
No problems at all. I'm glad to be talking to you guys.
Yeah, you too. It was a great chat. Thanks, Kieran.
Kieran Hosty from the National Maritime Museum.
What an amazing story.
Yeah. You just wonder, what are they looking at? What's left? It's obviously...
Well, 244 years.
Yeah. Bottom of the ocean.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's not... You look at wrecks of old warships.
Yeah.
And...
Have you ever gone down and seen anything like that?
No.
No, me neither.
No. I don't think it's pretty specialised to be able to get to do that. Unless you're James Cameron and you can have your own submarine and go down and look at the Titanic.
There'd be some wrecks you could see snorkelling, I reckon.
Oh, no, there are. Yeah,
you could see probably the Star of Greece, I reckon, down at Port Wollonga.
I think you can. I've never done that, but I believe you can.
I wouldn't go that far because of sharks.
Yeah, hell no. No chance.
Well, you wouldn't go that far because of titanium triggerfish.
I just, anything. I'm constantly being eaten and attacked by Mother Nature. And I think it's something to do with my rather laissez-faire approach to environmental policy. I think Mother Nature knows.
Exactly. This guy's a vandal. Get him.
Let's check traffic. Do you have an existing BMW service inclusive package? We'll book your next day service at Glenelg BMW.
At Melrose Park, got a breakdown on South Road just after Dawes Road inbound. Chain of Ponds, two-car smash, Northeast Road at Tippett Road causing a few delays. Myrtle Bank, speeds reduced for works around the intersection of Cross, Glen Osmond and Portrush Road, just at the bottom of the freeway. With cameras this morning, Adams Road, Craigmore, Hanson Road, Elizabeth Downs and Wandana Avenue at Gillis Plains. This February at Bob Jane T-Marts, they have offers to suit any budget. Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback. Visit bobjane.com.au or call 13 26 25. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Are you ready for bigger and better things? Automasters need more quality technicians, service advisors and franchisees to join SA's leading automotive service and repair group. With over 20 branches and new centres opening soon, Automasters offer clean workshops, the latest diagnostic equipment, with ongoing training and promotion opportunities at every level. Technicians, service advisors, franchisees, go to the Automasters website to apply. We could be just the change you're looking for.
I wasn't sure about making new mates when I moved to FIVEaa. Turns out I didn't have to worry. I do balance classes with the troops twice a week, and then I catch up with everyone when I man the bar for happy hour. That's about the right balance for me. Yeah, well, I wish I'd made the move to FIVEaa sooner.
There's never been a better time to take the first step to great retirement living. Search FIVEaa First Step today.
Sold by McGain again.
And as you know, homes are selling really quickly at the moment, so our advice is get along to these open inspections.
Yeah, here's a couple for you. Tomorrow from 11 to 11:30, Mike Dobbin and Zoe Ball are opening 1 Westbury Court Woodcroft. This beautifully updated home is close to the shops and schools, features 4 bedrooms, ensuite, brand new kitchen, 2 large living spaces, entertaining area, ducted reverse cycle air conditioning, double garage and caravan parking, $650 to $695K.
Also tomorrow from 11 to 11:30, Sam Raven will be opening up at 8 Olive Grove, Westbourne Park, beautiful suburb. This beautiful old 1926 bungalow needs some TLC, but with ornate dome ceilings, timber fretwork, several fireplaces and a beautiful stone frontage, there is huge potential. All set on a generous 700 square metre block with 3 bedrooms, veranda entertaining and a big old shed with a pit. Oh, how good is that? One of those old car pits. Auction is set down for February 19.
For all the info, take a look at these properties and all the McGain listings at mcgain.com.au.
The Edwardstown Mazda sale is on right now and it's sizzling with massive savings on new, demo and used Mazdas. Plenty of stock is arriving daily, but you'd better hurry, they'll be snapped up. Edwardstown Mazda, 862 South Road, LMVD 207428.
Right now, SA Ambulance Service has never been busier.
000 ambulance emergency.
So I was fishing on a boat and the hook is stuck in my nose.
But every day, 000 receives more and more trivial calls,
My husband fell down and he's broken his big toe.
stopping them from getting to the real emergencies.
I've got a really bad jaw pain from brushing my teeth too hard.
For non-emergencies, visit the Health Direct website and save 000 for when it matters.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
9 to 9, behind closed doors in just a moment. David's daily headline coming up as well. But first, we're going to do Fuel Watch thanks to Glenelg BMW. A new and independent home for BMW now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today. Petrol is really expensive. It's continued to go up from yesterday. Now, on average, around $1.89. If you're lucky, there's a few cheap spots that are still around. The OTR on Glen Osmond Road in Glenunga is at $1.59. The Liberty Port Adelaide, $1.53. $1.59 on Main South Road in Ranella, and $1.54 at the Ex-Convenience on Main North Road in Jeps Cross by the Superdrome.
Well, Boris Johnson's party problems have been well documented. Now the British Prime Minister has responded via the medium of song.
You got to fight for your right to party. That time I misled the Queen and I said, no way.
Well, that hypocrite lies 10 times a day.
Man, being PM is such a...
Oh, that's exceptionally well done.
You can find it on Facebook. Just do a Google search for Boris Johnson, Fight for Your Right to Party. But they've done the entire song. Of course, the Beastie Boys classic from their iconic debut album, Licence to Ill. But it is terrifically funny, and sometimes derision / satire is the best form of political analysis. The guy's become a living joke.
It's a nice part of our sort of shared culture with the UK, isn't it? It's
yeah.
Everything is the subject of humour.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, whenever the story first broke, there was all the partying Borises turned up outside our parliament. They had the face mask and the dress up, and they're all dancing around to music.
It really is one of the great all-time stupid political stories, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. And it's the perfect time in history for it, in the sense of the disconnect between the rule makers and the rule abiders.
Oh, for sure. I can't wait for those photos to come out, the 300 photos.
Oh.
And can you imagine the absolute gold-plated upper-class twits who would be at those shindigs? They'd all be like extras from Brideshead Revisited with their knitted cricket jumpers and the sort of people who talk like that.
Yeah. Oh. Well, how hasn't he resigned ahead of those things coming out?
Reminds me of that really excellent and little-known Monty Python sketch, Sam Peckinpah's Salad Days. I say, anyone for tennis? And then this enormous gunfight erupts and somebody gets their hands chopped off with a chainsaw.
Could happen. We'll have to wait for the report that comes out.
I say, anyone for tennis?
All right, let's go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberhty and Will Goodings.
Yeah, welcome back to 5AA Breakfast, and David Penberhty, welcome back to you too.
Yeah, g'day Will, how you going?
Really well, David, how are you?
All yours, babushka.
A little bit later in the program, we'll be talking to the Police Commissioner about expected lifting of restrictions. But right now, it's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, this morning on Breaking at 8, we're looking at an issue that's been ongoing, and we've addressed it on many occasions on this program, and that is the question of why my personal tastes in food and music are constantly being parodied and ridiculed. It's my position and the position of this program that any thinking person would be of the opinion that there's nothing tastier than brain and walnuts on brown bread with chives made with love, the way my grandma Doris Penberhty used to make it. It was just sensational, and heaps of recipes like that can be found in recipe books from the 1940s, and I'm sure a lot of people listening this morning would be leafing through their 1940s recipe tome looking for a tasty morsel, and frankly it's beyond belief that mouths all over South Australia wouldn't start watering at the very thought of some beautiful pressed tongue on a Sayo biscuit. It's apparent to anyone with a brain that this constant niggling and tittering because a person's personal taste doesn't necessarily line up with other people's may well be bordering on workplace bullying. The ultimate outcome of all this is that everybody should do themselves a favour and sit back with a beautiful jellied pig's trotter with Cajun sauce while listening to the Kick Inside album by Kate Bush and shut the f*** up.
2 in 1 day, that's over the odds.
That's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominee, Kate Bush. Now,
Yes.
Things have changed.
See, Phil Gallagher's been nominated for the AFL Hall of Fame.
I was going to say, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would have been a shock. I didn't see that coming. You're right over there?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. You need to say something because it's headline time.
Ah, yes. Do you want lies with that? Drive-through democracy comes to Victoria Park. Big thanks to Will Goodings for that one. And congratulations, Gags.
Yeah, Rock
Well
and Roll
done.
Hall of Fame. No, AFL. Football Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
Football Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, Phil Gallagher.
You seem down all
No,
of
no.
a sudden. Are you okay?
I got mental problems when it comes to that thing. We won't discuss it.
In that club?
Yeah. He's a great bloke. He's an excellent person. And remember, he came on the show.
This goes
for
to
the charity drive.
It is entirely possible to speak through gritted teeth. People have often wondered. This is what it sounds like, folks.
I'm not going to rain on the parade.
I know. It was very magnanimous of you.
Yeah. Great bloke.
Do you want to do a couple of texts before we finish up?
I'll tell you what, half of them we can't read out.
Oh, okay.
The next time Carolyn Wilson comes on the sports show, I reckon
be most listened to.
The switchboard will explode. There is a hell of a lot of feeling about it. Others have also had a crack at people who joined the pile-on. Martin mentioned Mark Williams in that context. Someone here has said 5AA is continuing the hype by saying the Crows camp is notorious. That's now been found to be incorrect. I suppose notorious means it just became scandalous, which it did.
Yeah, its level of notoriety hasn't changed, even though it was ill-deserved.
Yeah, well, that's right.
I think the word's still appropriate.
Yeah, no, exactly. And someone here, Ray, says, questioning the checkbook journalism of 60 Minutes and talking about the concerns of WA police about the fact that the interview could compromise the court proceedings.
We're out of time. We have a wonderful weekend, folks. And
Given the day 9, Dad, let's hope that doesn't happen too.
Yeah, that's Oh, it's been rough. All right, we're going to catch you on the other side of the weekend.
Have a great weekend, folks.
See you Monday from 6.